Mission First Tactical is a proud sponsor of the Talking Lead podcast and the Leadhead Brigade.
You hear me okay now?
Yeah, I can hear you good.
Okay, good. Good to see you, man.
My pleasure.
My prayers and love go out to you.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. Louise touched a lot of people, and there's been an outpouring of tens of thousands of people commenting. And yeah, she touched a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, your whole family has touched a lot of people, and you've gained a lot of respect from everybody. So.
Well, that's
very sorry for your loss.
Didn't waste our lives, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, you have led one remarkable life. There's no doubt about it. You take those off. I look silly with that on there. Got my readers on. I can't see.
I've got mine down here.
I'll be popping them on and off throughout the show.
I made it till 65, without even worrying about it. And then it just said it's not worth anymore.
It's crapped out, huh?
Yeah, it just helps. And I can still read, but it's a lot easier with those on.
All right, lead heads. Welcome back to another episode of the Talking Lead podcast. I'm your host, Lefty. 10 years of leducating the unleducated here on the Talking Lead podcast, bringing you all the leducation, and sometimes not. Sometimes we don't educate, but we have fun nonetheless. And this episode, I think we're going to have a really good time because we've got a legend on the show, ladies and gentlemen, joining us all the way. I guess you're in Canada. Are you in Canada today?
Yeah, you're in our Hand-of-Man Museum right now in the studio.
And I want to talk about that too. So let me do you the honors of an intro here for our lead heads. But ladies and gentlemen, this is the legend himself. He is an outdoor rider. He is a professional outdoor big game outfitter, hunter, TV producer. He's written several books. You've seen him on TV, outdoor channels, all your favorites. He's on every one of them. He is the father of a daughter that has followed in his footsteps. He was an All-American swimmer, and he even went to the Nationals, I think 2-time championship in water polo. You may not have known this fact about him. And we mentioned it a little bit earlier there, he has created, and he is the curator of the Hand of Man Museum of Natural History, Cultural Art, and Conservation. It's like a 17,000 square foot facility. We're going to talk about that. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the GOAT of hunting, big game hunting, the man with no fear, Jim Shockey, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm surprised you missed the legend.
The legend. Look at you. You're on top of it.
That's the only lead you missed on that whole intro.
That's the only lead one. Yeah. I like to play around with our show name in case you haven't noticed.
Yeah, it's awesome. I was giggling the whole time.
So, Jim, welcome in. This is an honor to have you on, sir.
Oh, it's my honor and my pleasure.
Well, and, we were talking a little bit earlier, too, and I think most of our listeners follow you, and they're aware of what's been going on in your life. And I know that they have sent out their love and their prayers to you and your family for the loss of the love of your life. So.
Yeah, Louise, we were married 39 years, and
wow.
Yeah, she touched a lot of people's lives. She was the most beautiful person inside and outside. And we lost her way too early, but we can't. No way to know the big picture, so we just have to believe she's in a better place right now.
Well, she is. We know she is, and the love that you guys have shown her, and then I know that she has shown you, it exudes through just your pictures. I mean, you don't even have to know you guys to see the tightness and the love that your family exudes.
Yeah, it's true love. We have a very close family, and Louise, Nana Weezy was the center of our universe.
Nana Weezy, I like that. I'm sure the grandchildren came up with that, didn't they?
Yeah, the Nana part, the Wheezy, I've always called her, it's Louise, but people just heard Wheezy, but it's Louise. I always called her that. And then the kids added the Nana part.
And she was an actress, is that right?
Yeah. She when we were going out, and she was doing a movie with Tom Selleck, and
no way, Tom Selleck?
Yeah, and it was a Michael Crichton novel, Runaway, that they were converting to a movie.
Yeah.
And then there was with Gene Simmons from Kiss. I think that was about the time that he took the face makeup off and started doing a movie.
I remember that movie.
Yeah, Kirstie Alley was in it as well. So she had her own trailer with a little star on it, and
that is awesome.
And Tom might deny this, but he actually asked her out, and so Louise phoned me and said, it was before he was married, and she said, well, Tom Selleck. I mean, he was Magnum PI.
Oh yeah,
he was the hottest guy around, and she said, you mind if I just went for lunch with him? And I said, no, heck no, let the bird free if it comes back, all that crap. And then I hung up and I said, what was I thinking?
It's Tom Selleck. It's Magnum PI.
Just imagine if the most gorgeous sex symbol in the world asked me out for a date. I mean, how would you feel? And she said, yeah, you're right. So she said no to him. And Eva, our daughter, still to this day says that that was the biggest mistake of Louise's life. She should have married him, and Eva would have. She always wanted a slide out her window into the pool that's shaped like whatever. So that's family folklore, but it's actually 100% true.
Yeah.
Whiskey River Beef, farm to table with a twist. Come along with us on a quest towards achieving self-sufficiency in food production and fostering a robust local food source to promote good health. Stock up with premium Tennessee beef, unparalleled in flavor and tenderness. You can be confident that you're receiving beef with no added growth hormones or implants. Always pasture-raised, locally USDA processed, and shipped straight to your home. Whiskey River Beef is grass and whiskey mash fed and finished, and is at least 14 days dry aged to enhance the tenderness and give you the most robust flavor imaginable. Go to whiskeyriverbeef.com today to order. Visit us on Instagram at Whiskey River Life and on Facebook at Whiskey River Beef LLC.
And ladies and gentlemen, Jim has a new novel that's going to be coming out in October, and that's what we're going to talk about here. And that kind of story that you're telling there, as I read your book, kind of the stories that are in your book, but it's not an autobiography. This is a work of fiction, finger quotes.
Yeah. I think that's what intrigued the publishers out east, in New York, the big guys. I think they couldn't tell what was real and what wasn't real, because it truly is an autobiographical fictional thriller, and I call it an abstract thriller because it distorts reality. You know what you're looking at, you know what you're reading, but you can't quite put the pieces together. So right. they I think they, like I said, I don't think they knew what part of it is real, because there's a lot. It's all, and you can, I say, go ahead, look.
That's the thing about it. I learned so much more about you after I read this book, because, and we'll talk about it, but you actually challenge, the character challenges the reader to verify his stories and go on Google and look it up. And, I started doing this, and after the first, 10 or 12, I was like, man, this stuff's actually real. This stuff happened. This is remarkable. How does Jim, the writer of this, know about all these things, So
that's call me Hunter. That's the character. What I say, and kind of, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, is it's 80% truth, and the 20% that would put anybody in jail, that's the fiction part. Then wink, wink,
but plausible deniability, right?
Yeah, exactly right.
But no, so Runaway, she was in that movie. I'm going to go back and rewatch that tonight.
Yeah, I think Michael Crichton really liked Louise. I mean, everybody likes her as soon as they meet her.
Oh, I can imagine.
And her part isn't big. I mean, she's literally got she plays a little waitress coming over and asking Tom and I think Kirstie Alley, what they want to, it's nothing. But if you look, you see Tom, like he
rubbernecking.
So it wasn't a big part. And Louise, she had all kinds of opportunities to go down to Los Angeles. I mean, all the time. The people, nobody would believe if I started dropping names of the kind of people that were, after Louise, that, were trying to get her to do the Hollywood thing.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, she wanted the parts where she could work for 3 days and that would pay for the rest of the month where she could just go on walks and do her dance and whatever else she wanted to do. She avoided all that stuff. It was, if I had this much of her talent, I would be insufferable. I would be unstoppable. I'd be, look at me, world. This is how wonderful I am. But she was such a humble, just beautiful old soul that was happy exactly what she was doing. She wanted to, marry the love of her life and love one man and have her family, a boy and a girl. And that's what Louise wanted to do. So all that other stuff she didn't even notice. I mean,
just gravy. It's just gravy for her. It's just extra.
It's just a byproduct of being the beautiful soul that she was.
And that's so rare to find the kind of love that you guys had, right off that early, and just know that this is it. This is everything, and I don't need anything else. This is everything I need right here.
I knew 100%. On our first, she wouldn't date me. I actually met her in a dance class.
Whoa! You met her in a dance class?
Yeah, it's the truth. Here's the deal. I was 26 years old, and I thought I was kind of hot, and I went out with all the model girls and whoever, and I was sitting there one day, and I was going, ugh, I got to get serious about getting married. I'm 26 years old. Where would I meet somebody who's beautiful, nice body, and really a nice person?
Yeah.
The bar, the nightclub, that didn't work so great. It's like, and so I was sitting there, and it was like an epiphany. I go, dance class. Of course, that's where you're going to find, a potential soulmate. So I looked in the yellow pages and looked at the biggest ad, and there was a dance class or dance studio, and it was Terpsichore. I called them up and said, you do dance lessons or whatever? And they said, yeah, we're a dance studio. And I said, what do you got tonight at 5:00? And they said, we have advanced ballet jazz with Louise. And so I said, advanced ballet jazz, that's me. So I showed up at 5:00 with my little, in 1984, like the tightest little red shorts that I split up.
Oh, they had short shorts in 84 too.
100%. That was the prime time for it.
That was the Magnum shorts.
Yeah, exactly. And I had a little white muscle shirt on. I walked in there, never had danced a step in my life other than, slow waltzes hanging on somebody. And I walked in there, and there's 30 beautiful women and one guy, and then the dance instructor, and me. And I just walked in and saw the dance instructor, and just, holy cow. So I asked her out, and she said, no.
With those shorts, no.
Yeah, I did the whole dance class. They were doing West Side Story. They were, Louise was about 2/3 of the way through the choreography, teaching this class.
Yeah.
We are the Jets and the Jets every day, and they're playing and pas doing across the floor. I had no idea about any of it, so I was just going along. I must have been cute enough because I asked her out, and she said no, and no. I said, well, it'll be the biggest mistake of your life, I can tell you that. And she told the story always after she'd turn her head and said, you son of a gun, and so she said, okay, I won't go on a date, but I'll go for a walk on a beach with you. So we, set it for a week, and I walked on that beach with her and asked her questions, because I didn't, pretty girl.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't interested. I was looking for a soulmate, and, what do you think about raising children? Where do you want to live? And found out she actually had grown up on a farm out in Quebec.
Oh, wow.
She was perfectly bilingual, and I asked her, I was testing her on that. I said, well, so you like the outdoors? Yeah, wildlife, yeah. So what's that bird? and it was a blue heron. And she looks at me, I know that one. And I said, what is it? And she said, it's a gray herring. And I said, you know, cute on top of everything else. And I said, well, you know, we walked for like 2 hours. And she said, I asked her again, and she said, okay, I'll go for a dinner date in a week. And I literally went home that night. I phoned my parents. I told them I found the girl I'm going to marry. I phoned my sister and told her, phoned all my buddies, and said, I'm out of the loop anymore. All my water polo buddies, I said, you know, I'm done. And I phoned all my dates that I had set up for into the future, my little black book.
Through the old black book.
Yeah. I said, look, I'm done. I can't go. You know, and I knew, I absolutely 100% knew from that walk, from that instant. And that's, I posted the other day and said that, you know, it was 39 years, 113 days, 14 and a half hours that I had with that beautiful, wonderful soul and that was from that date. That was from exactly that moment. Now, Louise,
from dance class, from you just going to dance class.
Yeah. So any of you young guys listening out there, you know, you don't need to go like use this. And,
Jim, you just sold out every dance class in the nation now.
Yeah.
Every single guy is going to take a dance class now.
Well, it's the truth. I mean, it's the truth. Why go to a bar? There's all these other little rutting bucks, and they're you know, getting in fights, and you know, I mean, everybody's just go to a dance class and just be yourself, and you know, and be they'll love you.
Did you go to any more dance classes, or was that the only one?
No, that was a one-shot deal, and no, I never. I mean, I knew I was an absolutely useless two left-footed dancer, and what would be the point? I went there for a purpose, and
you accomplished mission accomplished. Yeah. But you know, she was an accomplished dancer as well.
Oh, it's fabulous dancer. Like she was with Les Ballets Russes and Les Ballets Jazz, you know, dance troops in Montreal, Eastern Canada. She
traveled the world.
Fabulous dancer, and she also taught yoga for 30 years.
Oh,
we have a dance studio in our house. Actually, I built it for her. 1991. I during the Gulf War, I built the whole dance studio and took an old gymnasium floor. And nailed each of those little maple slats down by hand, and watched the Gulf War unfold on TV while I was doing it.
Well, now you got to take up dancing again.
Yeah, you know.
You have Ava come over and teach you, right? Didn't she learn?
I'm going to put my my little tidy shorts on again and muscle shirt, and we'll see how that goes. And Eva, our daughter, was also a competition salsa dancer. So Eva is all, people don't realize it. They think she's outdoor field to table liver. She is, but she's also a great accomplished professional dancer.
Yeah. Again, something I learned by reading your novel and doing that research that your character dared us to do. Is some, you know, you go down the rabbit hole and you'll find all kinds of stuff.
I say it's like quicksand. You want to resist against suspended reality, and you start struggling by searching, and you're going to get deeper and deeper and deeper until you can't get out. And
you know, that's the thing too, is when David contacted me at Simon & Schuster, he's like, hey, you know, Jim Shockey's got a book on. Would you like to have him on the show? I was like, yeah, I would love to do that. He goes, I'll send you, a copy, advanced copy. And, you know, the name of it is Call Me Hunter. I'm like, that's fitting. You know, it's Jim Shockey and Call Me Hunter. Yeah. So, and as I start getting into it and start reading, I was like, this is not what I was expecting from Jim Shockey. So for our readers, if you don't mind, can I read this little excerpt here about what the book's about?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. So, about the book, an elite secret society of killers has controlled the world's treasures for hundreds of years until one member tears himself free to salvage his soul and protect his daughter's life in this electrifying and thrilling debut. And then it goes on and reads a little bit more, but I think we'll talk a little bit about it. So I don't want to give too much away because I want our listeners to go and read the book, buy the book, get it. So I understand that this was like 25 years in the making.
Yeah, longer than that, actually. I was 10 years old when I envisioned the museum that I'm sitting in right now, and it's, a natural history, cultural arts museum. I had National Geographic. I grew up in a trailer park, so we couldn't afford to, these were pipe dreams for me.
Yeah.
But I knew I was going to do it. I wasn't going to live like my dad did.
Did you watch Marlon Perkins'
of course,
Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom? I loved that show.
Yeah, Jim actually, Marlon's sidekick, there's Jim. He's wrestling the anaconda while I'm on the shore here.
Right.
Jim is a member of the Explorers Club of New York City, which I'm also a member of. It's a venerated, Theodore Roosevelt, Sir Edmund Hillary was, president. Like that's all the astronauts.
Yeah,
they're all Armstrong. They're all members of that club, and Jim is still alive, at least last I heard, and he's a member of the club as well. I've never met him yet, but one day I'd like to just walk up, and I watched religiously as a kid.
Oh, I did.
When we finally got a TV.
Yeah. There is that. You had to have had a TV back in the day.
yeah. But I thought I started my first novel when I was 10, and same time I collected my first seashell for this museum. It's still here, a conch shell, and but I mean I had nothing to write. I couldn't even hardly write it. It's a skill you have to actually hone.
Yeah.
So I started writing magazine articles in 1980. I shelved it. Started writing magazine articles in 84 to hone that craft. And in 91, I thought I was good enough. I was going to sit down and write 91 to 93, somewhere in there. I penned the first lines of that novel, Call Me Hunter, and Zhivago is dead. I hunted him down and I killed him. And I actually wrote that first page, and I thought about it, and I realized I still didn't have a story to tell.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have, I hadn't lived life enough. And there's two ways you can write. You can get out of university and start being a novelist, and you can, use your imagination. You can travel and research, or you can live a life on the very edge of, where people should or shouldn't live.
Right.
And at the end of that, write. So I firmly believe for me, it was the only way. I'm not saying other people can't do it their way, but
sure.
I needed to live life. And then when I sat in 2016, I decided that 2019, Mozambique, October, I was done. That was my last international trip because I needed to write this novel. I'd been writing it in my head for 25 years. And if I didn't stop international travel 300 days a year, I wasn't going to get it done.
Yeah.
And you run out of time in a life. So I stopped November 2019. I sat down and wrote, picked up those lines again.
Picked up from where you did the Zhivago is dead?
Yeah, same line, yeah. Zhivago is dead. I killed him.
So
hunted him down and killed him.
What caused you to come up with that initial line? What was happening in your life? What were you like? Were you 40? 97? Is that when you first did that?
Yeah, I would have been just over 40 or 91. Geez, I got to use my math. Just over 30.
I know it's been a minute.
Yeah, I mean, in the novel, it starts with a youth named Hunter, and he had a special talent for recognizing art and beauty.
Beauty, yeah.
And it's actually, I believe it. I think that if you're born with that, you can structure art and you can learn about it, but there's something inside you that's innate that allows you to feel beauty. Just feel it. And it doesn't matter what it is. And the child sees great art, recognizes it because his world is a sepia tone, brown on brown world. But when he sees that piece, it stands out in brilliant, brilliant color.
Right.
And sometimes, for some people it's music, some people it stands out, but I believe you're born with that. And I felt beauty when I was that age. Like it's a different weird thing that you have to read the novel to.
Well,
to
yeah.
find
And that's
out.
the thing too, is, again, as you're reading this, and then you kind of get the assumption that Hunter is you. And when you were growing up in your youth, and, this is, he's kind of portraying himself, in a way. So I was going to ask, when you were younger, and he was perceived in the character in the book, perceived as slow, but he actually was very overly, he's super intelligent.
Beyond.
Did you have troubles in school when you were younger? Did you struggle?
Well, the character Hunter, he couldn't read. It was grade 3, and the teacher told the parents that he couldn't read, so they had to take him to a child psychiatrist.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in 3rd grade, my teacher, Mrs. Miller, she told my parents that he can't read and everybody else can read. See Dick run, see Jane jump up the hill, whatever, see Spot. And my parents took me to a child psychiatrist to find out what was wrong with me, quote unquote. And
so you actually went to a psychiatrist in real life?
Yeah. No, that's the psychiatrist walked out of you got to read the book because it's autobiographical.
It just hit home to me because I was kind of the same way when I was younger. I was probably about the 3rd grade, and they thought I had, something, dyslexia or something. I was having trouble reading. Sure. But once I got into the remedial reading teacher or whatever, started getting in there, she just found that I was basically bored, and
100%.
And it's like, he's got no problem reading whatsoever. It's just that this is boring to him.
Yeah, and that's exactly what the psychiatrist told my parents: is take him to the library, but put him in the section with wildlife.
Yeah.
Adventure. Not see Dick run or Jane run. That's he just and I know listening right now, I know there's people that are saying that are like us that so people look at us and think, well, they're kind of dumb. They're slow,
right?
They're whatever.
They're dumb.
Whatever's
got a problem.
Political word for today for calling a child like that, but in fact, we just relate to the world in a different way, and that's in the book. The outdoors, the animals,
our senses are tantalized by something other than what's being put in front of us.
See range, and we don't fit in because of that. And at my it's just getting back to Mrs. Miller, my grade 3 teacher, she reached out to me. In the last couple of years, she was reading a James Patterson novel, Cross Justice. And I actually heard about, I found out because I happened to be reading that same novel sitting on a beach one time on one of the 3 holidays Louise and I ever went on. And I'm reading it, and then all of a sudden James Patterson, the character, Alex Cross, the character started talking about this Jim Shockey guy that, and his children were watching it on TV, and he was in Mongolia and hunting some sheep, and the kids said, well, you got to do what Jim Shockey do to hunt down the criminals. So all through this cross justice book by James Patterson, the biggest selling author ever, there was, I was reading about myself and what the kids were watching on TV and what would Jim Shockey do kind of thing.
Did the hairs on the back of your neck stand up when you read that?
Yeah, it's pretty, you're like, whoa, what, and the teacher, Mrs. Miller, she read the same novel a couple years later and got a hold of me, through the museum and she actually said, I apologize. I didn't know. And how could she? I couldn't read, and I wasn't interested. I was bored, just like you were. But once Dad got me into the library, and I could pick, the books that I was interested in. I was reading at, advanced level reading. Grade 5. By grade 5, I was reading J.A. Hunter. That set me on the course of this. All this in the background.
Yeah.
Just that one book. I got so many detentions from reading that in classroom, hiding it in my, the teacher would say, go, and perfect. I'd take my book and I'd get to read more of J.A. Hunter. I read it 3 times that year. So it's, back to your original question, there's a lot that's was who I am.
That comes from you.
That's what I say. Go ahead, research it. And parts of the book, people, that haven't seen it yet, it's a lot of it is written in third person omniscient, the perspective.
Right.
In the audio books, that'll be Scott Brick doing that. So the reader that did all of Clive Cussler's book, I purposely I wanted him.
Nice.
They wanted to use 7 actors playing the parts, and I said no. This is a story, and it needs to be one person Scott Brick is who I want. Clive Cussler is the best.
Yeah.
But parts of the book are in second person perspective, which is never done in a novel. Very, very seldom. It's done when someone's telling someone else something. It's done in autobiographies.
Yeah.
So those parts in the actual audiobooks, I read those parts.
Oh, really?
Because it's second person, so it's so autobiographical
that's cool.
And again, it's just to make it abstract, like cubism. So you see the shapes, and you know what it is, but it's not done right.
Yeah.
It can't be that. So it's not a, it's a fairly complicated. We actually tried to get it published in the literature category originally.
Oh, really?
My agent Esther Fedorkovich, we sent it to 10 publishers and in the literature, and they all sent it back without reading it and said, no, we Googled him. He's a celebrity. He can't possibly write literature.
He can't write literature.
Yeah, literally. And I go, so I have a cowboy hat, and people follow me on social media, so I can't write literature. And
when you're not wearing your kangaroo hat,
Yeah, I got that one. Yeah, then that would be more suitable.
Yeah, you should have put that hat on.
Yeah, it's different. I mean, it's different hats, right? But I just took it to mean, well, they just assume because you've done certain things in your life that people recognize that you can't write literature. You have to be a down and out, depressive, suicidal, PhD in English lit, or English lit history to write a literature. So I was kind of giggling about that because it kind of forced our hands to put it into the commercial, fiction category, and it's an unusual novel. It doesn't really fit in this genre or that genre.
But I think it really fits in the thriller, the suspense thriller fiction.
Yeah. That's where it ended up in was fictional thriller.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Less than 1% of all Americans will ever serve in uniform. Their average age is 23. The average age of an American serving in combat, just over 21. They come from every walk of life and ethnicity to represent the melting pot and diversity of our great republic. In the prime of their life, often just old enough to drink, or voting for the first time for their commander-in-chief, they serve our nation and risk their lives to preserve the freedoms and liberties we hold most sacred. To every veteran, and for every measure of service, devotion, and sacrifice you've given, we offer our sincerest gratitude and thanks.
It's going up against.
But
Brad
that's what
Thor.
I was expecting when it was sent to me, is Call Me Hunter, and is Jim Shockey on the cover, and I'm seeing these big claw marks on here. I'm like, this is going to be like an autobiography, kind of book, but kind of, but not really.
Yeah, kind of, but not really.
Yeah.
And the other thing that a lot of people don't know in the hunting world and the gun world, I made my living dealing in art for a long, long time. I mean, Country
really?
Living magazine back in '84, Rachel Newman was the editor. She, in their 10th anniversary issue, she wrote up about my and Louise's collection as being the finest collection of the Western Canadian ethnocentric furniture that they've ever seen. She came right out to our place, and they did three articles on my collection. Country Living magazine prior to 84, 88.
Yeah, they were huge back then too.
Yeah, that was. I mean, that's how I made my living. And art. When I traveled, yes, we filmed hunting, but I was looking for the cultural artifacts and arts of those countries. Yeah, that's what I spent. That's my cameraman. I spent more time doing that than the actual out in the mountains
and in the woods.
Yeah, so I bought the art world. This is again a part that I think the hunting world and gun world doesn't realize. I still do. I've got a museum.
Well, and I want to talk about that too, because it sounds remarkable, and as you mentioned earlier, it's something that you've wanted to do since you were 10 years old.
Yeah,
and
started collecting.
Got that shell when you were how old when you got the conch shell?
10 years old.
You're 10 years old.
The local church had, they said if you brought 5 friends to Sunday school, they would give you a conch shell. No, conch shell in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan in whatever, 1963 or whatever it was, or 67. That's unheard of. A conch shell is like the golden fleece.
Yeah.
So that's the first piece for my museum. I took 5 friends to the Sunday school and got my conch shells. It's in the museum, and I kept everything from then on. Insects, pretty rocks. I'd steal fishing lures from my dad's tackle box, and if I get into my grandfather's tackle box, that's when the good stuff was.
Oh yeah.
And that all that's still here.
You got all that there.
Yeah, I kept it all, much to my poor mother's chagrin. And then Louise, of course, 39 years ago, when we got married, she was a minimalist. Her apartment, when I eventually got to see it, was 2 cushions, a coffee table, and a mirror on one wall. And it was like a 1,000 square foot apartment, a big, giant open space.
She had to have room to dance. Come on.
Well, and do her choreography. So she didn't want clutter on the walls. And I live like what you're seeing behind me is nothing. I mean, it's like, this is how yeah, there you go. Yeah, same, just like your wall. That's how I live. And poor Louise, she was a beauty. I was a beast. She was a lady. I was a tramp. And she had to
Lady in the Tramp.
Put up with my collecting, obsession all these years. But I knew what I was doing. I just needed a venue to display it all. I don't believe you own anything. You're a steward of whatever object it is.
Yeah.
That I don't care what it is.
You're just keeping it until the next person enjoys it.
Exactly. Just keeping it until then.
Yeah. But in the book, again, there's a lot of art in that. And again, it's not something that people who watch you on, your hunting shows would, expect. It's something that can kind of, it's like, man, to write this book, you got to know a lot about all this different kind of art and all these different artists. And I mean, you're throwing people out there that I'd never heard of. And that's why a lot of the reason I had to do the Googling, the section where you're in, you're talking about Romania, and you're in Romania, and Nadia Comaneci,
that's all true.
You're throwing out all these names in the book. You're throwing, it wasn't Farrah Fawcett. It was it Goldie Hawn?
Yeah, Goldie Hawn. Yeah, that's part of the continuation of the story about Tom Selleck, because after we were married, we had Louise had Brandon, our son, and I mean, it's busy when you have a child. You're busy, and I had my antique store, Folk Art Interiors, in Vancouver. Real trendy, and my clientele was the who's who, and Goldie Hawn. She was a good client. So she came in and she asked me for lunch one day, and I said, yeah, of course. So I went around the corner to the Alma Street Cafe and had lunch with Goldie. And then
now, did you ask Wheezy before?
Therein is the rub, because I didn't. And to the, I mean, right through our entire marriage, I mean, it's kind of a running joke, because I mean, I was in love with Louise, but I came home that night and Louise slept on our baby and doing all this, and I said, oh, guess who I had lunch with today? And she said, who? And I said, Goldie Hawn. And Louise goes, take your kid and go change his diaper, kind of thing. But it was always, it's a family, it's a family story we tell, and it's the truth. It's
Is that how you met all the names that you've got in this book? Is through your antique store? Some
through the art world, and but also some through Louise. Like I say, her connections.
Yeah.
Like to be at that dinner with Lonnie Anderson and Stephanie Zimlis and Michelle Lee. That's Louise's connections.
Gotcha.
I was there, and Louise was there too, but it's because of her that I was there.
Yeah.
So she was doing another movie. This Lindsay Wagner, the $6 Million Woman.
Yeah, Lindsay Wagner. Yeah.
Yeah, and that little cute one that was doing soap operas. I mean, these are all people that Louise knew, and those ones, they're not in the book. But her, like I say, if I start dropping names about who was chasing after Louise in those days, she was she was gorgeous. Plus, there's just something about her when you walked in the room.
You're a lucky man.
You walked in the room, everybody knew it was just, there's an aura about an angel.
Well, and that, I guess the superpower that your character has in recognizing, innate beauty and value, It seems that you have that as well. Again, you're a collector. You've got the antique store. You've got your museum there. You found, Wheezy. You went to this dance studio, and then, boom, the love of your life is right there, and you know it right off the bat. You know what you wanted to do at 10 years old. You know you wanted to write a novel. You know you wanted to open this museum, and you've made it all happen. You envisioned it young, and you've patterned your life to make it happen.
Yeah, what I liken it to, if you drive in one direction for half a century and don't take any side roads, you will end up somewhere. And this is where I end up. I just never allowed myself to be sidetracked or golden handcuffed if it didn't bring me closer to that goal, I didn't do it. I didn't, I wasn't interested. I don't care how lucrative or attractive, making money, I don't think there's a great skill involved with making, Elon Musk, okay, there's some skill there. There's no question. That's an Uber level.
Yeah.
But to just rich and have a private jet.
A lot of people behind him, though.
Yeah, sure he does.
There's a lot of people that made Elon Musk.
But if you're successful, you're going to have good people that
absolutely.
Stand on their shoulders.
Yeah.
That help you. I'm not here today because of every single thing I did myself, but I associated with good people that are on a similar pathway. So yeah, it's been an interesting life. And I think that's part of, everything I try and do is let people know you have one life. You don't get a second. You don't get a redo on this.
No redo.
So if you're gonna live that one life, don't waste any of it. I mean, it's yours to live. Do what you love doing. If it's watching football games on the weekend, watch them.
Yeah.
But be damn the best at it. Like whatever. Watch them from in the morning to. But you get one life, and all of this is meant to inspire. The book also is meant to reach outside of our vertical market. Our hunting market or gun market. The people outdoors, field to table people. It's meant to reach outside of our world that we live and love, the lifestyle, and reach people that don't know about us. They think we're just louts that spit on the floor and no higher sensibilities because we own a gun. I mean,
because we kill animals. Yeah, because we're truthful and we don't sanitize it. We just live. Here's the truth. This is what it is. We eat an animal. We'd rather butcher it ourselves and cut it up, put it in the freezer, cook it ourselves, know where it came from. And that can be raising it too on a farm, a ranch, whatever. But we're in touch with that. We're not ignoring it and say we live in our penthouse and no, we're too, that's the unclean, the unwashed to do that. This book is meant to reach into their world in a way that they understand, which is, writing. It's not considered something that we do on our, that we can do. Yeah.
Like we're not supposed to be able to because we can't read. Well, we can read. You're just not giving us the thing we want to read.
Yeah, me hunter, me no read.
Yeah, and that's what this book is meant to do is reach out to the people that are out there and hopefully change the perspective. I switched the stereotypes. The villain is an animal rights extremist. I flipped it. So he's the villain now.
Yeah.
And the guy that's the hunter, and there is no hunting in the book. Anyone that's reading think they're going to get a story about me being on safari somewhere. It's not, or up in the Yukon mountains.
Yeah.
But the anti-hero is a hunter. Or he becomes a hunter. He starts to understand the spirituality of it. And the protagonist is a young lady. I mean, it's like Girl with the Dragon Tattoo meets Da Vinci Code meets Hunger Games.
Yeah. And again, as I did the research into this, I started to see who the characters actually are in your book. I was like, okay, I know who she, and again, I don't want to give it away, but I know who, as it comes together, I know who each person is. I know who the ultimate prize art is, and who it is in your life kind of deal.
Right. Yeah. That's the soul catcher.
The soul catcher.
And that's the original title was Soul Catcher, but it's a little too spiritual. It didn't, that was the working title. And then the second title I worked with was Man of Swords, which I loved. I thought Man of Swords was for a work of literature, that's the right title. But
yeah,
your point of purchase is not going to be very high with Man of Swords in the bookstore in the airport.
Yeah,
so
it can turn some people
off. I knew that too, but I thought that was a great title. And that sees you the Man of Swords, the character hunter.
Yeah,
and again, not to give it all away, Icarus, Man of Swords, and Hunter.
I'm trying not to give it away, so I'm letting you talk.
Yeah, it was.
But you're really not giving away the plot or anything. But it's called Call Me Hunter, and it's got your name underneath it. And for those who know you and they see this, they're going to just automatically grab it and say, "Oh, Jim Shockey's got a novel out. This is your first novel." I mean, you've written books before, and you've written thousands of articles.
Yeah, and I've got 4 books waiting in the wings to publish. They're ready to go to design. One is actually a love story of Louise and I, and that is autobiographical and biographical, because Louise and I, I wrote it, but Louise's input in the last year, and it's done and ready with like 300 photographs or 200 photographs of.
Oh, nice!
And it tells our love story from the beginning, and about both of us coming up. So that one I may release sooner than later.
That would make a great movie.
Yeah, it's a love story, right?
It would make a great movie.
And it's, I don't know, Romeo and Juliet, Louise and Jim doesn't quite work. Baba and Nana, that kind of works.
Baba and Nana.
That's what my kids call me, is Baba. So like that's Ukrainian grandmother, which somehow, that was supposed to be Louise. What the grandkids called her was Baba, because that's Ukrainian grandmother. That's what I call my Baba. Ukrainian great grandmother. But somehow they got it mixed around. It became Nana and Baba. So I'm Baba. But it is it's a love story, and I think it was important to tell Louise's story because she's so humble and so just such a pure soul that she was never going to tell her herself, and so I did it. Well,
you guys have led amazing lives, and people are deeply interested in that. So,
if it makes a difference in people's lives, a positive difference, and they're in their relationship, and they realize thousands of people have been reaching out since this happened last week, and they all say the same thing. The messages are all the same, that Louise touched them and made them more appreciative of their own relationships, and each day how precious that is. You just don't squander it. Just look for the beauty and the wonder and the positive in this world.
But the people who it's going to really affect the most and be the most beneficial to, your grandchildren.
Yeah.
They're the ones who you're really doing it for.
Yeah, I think so. My grandparents, I wish, they would have taken the time to tell their story to me, right. So that I would have it for my children and for their children, so they know who is their who's their antecedents. Yeah. Nowadays we just don't know. I mean, I guess if it's you have George Washington as an antecedent, but most of us but they're still fascinating lives. I mean, my grandparents came from the old country. Yeah. They both spoke Ukrainian on my mom's side, Ukrainian. But they had, they came from Poland. They had Polish passports, but they spoke Ukrainian. So how did that happen? None of that, those stories never got told. If they would have done the same thing, and to be fair, they were working. And sure. I have the luxury of being able to sit and type a story. So they didn't have time. They were putting the crop in. They were harvesting. They were looking after 10 kids, 9 kids.
But it's up to us as the grandchildren, the children, to go and get that story for our children, and pass it on and do it from generation to generation. It's something that I regret deeply because all my grandparents are gone. They're passed, and I didn't really sit down and talk to them or really show any interest in where our family came from, how you guys got here, where, what did you do when you were young? What about your parents?
Yeah. And it's difficult. I mean, I think that way. I think into the future. I think legacy. I think, I think I have a perspective that, I live in the future. What's going to happen when my great grandchildren, they don't know who Baba, that guy back then, who he was. Well, now they know. Here's the book.
Yeah.
But because I thought like that, my parents were there, and I tried to sit down with my mom and dad with a recorder, but I mean, you have to live with somebody for a year. Louise and I lived every morning we'd sit there and I'd say, okay, what do you think about this? Like, tell me the story of your childhood. And it takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
And so that means nobody should feel guilty because they didn't, or you yourself, about your grandparents, because it's really hard to do. But here's what the way you have to look at it. You can do it. So you are thinking about your grandchildren, not you thinking about your grandparents.
Right.
You set it up for your grandchildren because time passes and suddenly you're going to be the grandparent that's gone, and you left something, but you need to take the time for your own life. Yeah. Very difficult to do it for your parents. I mean, it's just hard.
It's a great point. Yeah.
So, but everybody needs to do it now for their own lives because we're not here forever. And this is our sort of myopic vision of life that we think we're immortal and we'll just keep going like we are. My wife's 66, healthiest person in the world. She never smoked, never drank. Socially, never, deep fried. I swallow deep fried everything. Give me French fry, I'm happy. And,
right.
Everything bad. And here, 66, she's the one that gets this ticket. We're all going to get it at some point.
Yeah.
So we think we're going to be around. We'll do it later. Procrastinate it. Do it now for your children.
Gotta live for today.
And just do it. And don't worry about what your grandparents or parents that you didn't do it for them or they didn't do it. You can do it. So that's what I did on that book. But I also have to write a sequel. It was a 2-book deal with Simon & Schuster. So I've got and this story's not done. Obviously you read.
Yeah.
I had a different ending.
Well, I was going to say, when you were talking about the titles, I was like, for your first, this is the great title to get people hooked. And then now you can go with those, those other titles and because you've established yourself by that time.
That's right. Once they read it, do you know who Jim Zumbo is?
Jim Zobo?
Jim Zumbo. He's like the outdoor life. This one, even though we're on your podcast.
Answer
it. Hey, Big Jimbo. I can't.
Hey, buddy, how are you?
I'm good, Jimbo, and I know you're calling about Louise, but I'm actually on a podcast, and you are too. I've got my phone.
Hey, Jimbo.
It's Jim Zumbo. So it's the Talking Lead podcast. So I'm talking to Lefty here, and you call it. But there's no way I'm going to disrespect you by not taking that call. But I'll phone you back as soon as I get off this.
Okay, bud.
Yeah. Okay. Okay,
Right.
Jimbo. Talk to you. Bye.
Bye. Yeah.
Zumbo is a dear friend. I've got him on my phone here. I don't know if anybody noticed, but he's listed as my hero. And because that's who he was. I remember walking into I think it was in Missouri. Tony Knight, the originator of the inline muzzleloader, had a sort of industry hunt about 90, 89, somewhere in there. And I walked in this little place in Missouri that where we're all staying, and there was like Larry Weishun sitting there, and Bill Jordan, and my brain's gone dead. But Zumbo was sitting there too, and I like, that's Jim Zumbo, and I literally walked up and said, "You're Jim Zumbo?" He said, "Yeah." And I said, "You're my hero," and I shook his hand, and so every single time I see Jimbo, "You're my hero, Jimbo," and he goes, But those guys deserve the recognition, So
Trailblazers.
That's why I'm sorry I took the phone call.
No, that was our honor that you took that phone call. So thank you.
Yeah. He's a good man.
We got Jim on the podcast, and he didn't even know it. So.
Yeah, exactly.
I can say I've had him on the show too.
Yeah, he's a wealth of stories. I mean, that's.
Oh,
but anyway, my novel, I had a different ending. It was, I left it as a cliffhanger originally,
mm-hmm.
and Jack Carr read it.
Jack,
great, amazing guy.
Been on the show several times.
Yeah, he's just super guy and talented, and he's walked the walk. But he read it and loved it. He passed it on to Emily Bessler,
mm-hmm.
who's the rock star of editing in New York City. Simon & Schuster discovered so many of the new best-selling authors. That's her stock and trade, is finding the next greatest author, and she loved it, but she said very clearly, you're gonna have to finish this because you can't. You are on your first novel cannot leave a cliffhanger. You'll just get everybody angry. So I had to write the first 4 chapters of the second book and tack them on to the end, because I wanted everybody to read. Okay, you got to read the second book now but she said no, you got to put a little bit more of a bow on this thing. And
gotcha.
But I mean, it's still open ended because there's still the rest of the. I actually envisioned it as a 3-book, 3-novel story, because I can't tell it in 2. So there'll be a third as well.
You and Jack, very similar, kind of stories. Is like he always envisioned that he was going to write a book too. He was going to be a novelist, and from a very young age, and he kind of patterned his life to make that happen as well. So very similar, kind of mindsets. And
and I think that it's just a gene inside you. Like I knew what I was going to do in my life. People said, "Well, you're lucky." Well, I guess so. But I also lived breathed every second towards that goal. I mean, I didn't go sideways. Everything was towards that goal. So I guess it's luck, but you just keep going.
It's not luck; it's dedication too, because it takes an immense amount of willpower and dedication to not get off course.
It's the allure of the easy road is the sort of fascinating road for that day. The wind's blowing this way, so I go this way.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to the party. But I don't want to. I'd rather be researching or reading this book, or whatever, refinishing this or restoring this piece. And you just don't. It's hard work, but it's not even work. It's not that either, because it's not work. I have never worked. I was unemployable, besides the fact that I never worked, because I would be a employer's nightmare, because I have my own vision. And if it didn't fit into where I was headed, I wouldn't have done it.
You've always been your own boss though, haven't you?
This way?
You've always been your own boss, haven't you?
Yeah. I never, well, I mean, technically for the last 39 years, not.
Yeah.
There was a higher power in our house that. If she, I mean, that was the level of her love. If she ever asked me to quit whatever I was doing, I would have.
Sure.
But she would never do that, because she knows I would quit, and she didn't need me to prove it to her, my devotion to her.
Yeah.
So it's but to get somewhere like Jack did, that's an exercise in desire. You have, it's desire, and I said this before. Willa Cather, in a book called The Professor's House, she wrote that desire is I think I'm going to probably paraphrase a little bit, but
sure.
Desire is the magical element in creation or creativity. And if you could invent an instrument to measure desire, you could predict achievement. So it's the truth. If you have the desire, people ask, what do I have to do? Well, if you have the desire, you just do it. You want to. I want to hunt as much as you do. Well, and then the next line is, but where I live, there's not big whitetails, or there's not. Well, okay, so move. Move. Don't tell me you have a job and you need to do that job. There's jobs where you want to move to and there's animals you can go hunting all the time here in British Columbia, Alaska. If you're Wyoming, I mean, Montana, move. Don't sit where you are if you have a problem with that place and say, that's not actually the reason that you're not succeeding in attaining the goal that you have, because you actually don't have the desire to reach your goal.
Yeah.
And I know there's people saying, I know things happen in my life. They do. Yes, they do.
Yeah, they do. And, people in your life too, again, it's like you were saying earlier, surround yourself with the people that are going to help you accomplish your desires, your goals, the positivity, because I can remember growing up, telling people what I wanted to do, and all the negativity is like, oh, you'll never be able to do it. You can't do it. I wanted to be an astronaut. When I was like you, I was young. I was like, that's what I wanted to do. I remember sitting in fifth grade, and we're talking about Neil Armstrong and first man on the moon. I was like, that's what I want to do. And I listening to the people, it just kind of got me, and I gave it up. I did get into aviation though. So.
Oh, that's good.
So adjacent,
you're
but
pilot?
Yeah, I started off pro pilot, and then I went administration. So
that's cool. That's it's on the path to becoming an astronaut. But if you got sidetracked at all along the way,
I got sidetracked.
And, but part of that is people saying no. There's always 1,000 reasons why not to do something. 1,000. And there's only one good reason to do it. So
that's
the problem
one
is
you need.
You got to ignore the 1,000, naysayers and quackers and just self-doubts and just do it. But again, it was John Gardner in Grendel said there's no limit to desire, but desire's need. So that's the limit of desire, and you add that with Willa Cather's quote, and you end up with, okay, you are what you are. And
you have to feed
exactly
your desire. Yeah, you got to feed that desire.
Yeah, and you want to be an astronaut, you literally, you better not go sideways anywhere along that path, because, there's a lot of people want to be an astronaut, and some of them are dedicated,
very few percentage. But hey, now I'm a podcaster, and I've got Jim Shockey on my show. So the second best thing to being an astronaut.
As opposed to circling Mars. Being
the first man on Mars.
That's right. Yeah, good luck with that one. You're counting on me bringing that.
Come on, man. I'm trying to boost my ego a little bit here. Hey there, Leadhead Brigade. Lefty here with some important news for you. Forecasters from the University of Arizona warn that 2023 will be a very active hurricane season, and they're asking people to get prepared. They're expecting the number of major hurricanes this year to be similar to 2017, which saw the extremely intense and damaging hurricanes that we all heard about, Harvey, Irma, and that nasty old Maria. How bad can it get? Well, when Hurricane Ida hit the Gulf Coast, it destroyed countless homes and left many without access to food, clean water. Millions lost power. Most didn't have power for weeks. The floods that followed the hurricane washed out the roads, made it impossible for grocery stores to restock their shelves. Families were left hungry and desperate, waiting for help that was slow to arrive. But what if you didn't have to be reliant on the government, FEMA, your neighbor, grocery stores during these crises? The answer is simple. Be prepared with emergency food kits from 4 Patriots. Their long-lasting, delicious food options are specifically designed to provide you and your loved ones with the sustenance you need when you need it the most. 4 Patriots survival food kits are hand-packed in the USA. They last 25 years. They come packed inside covert storage totes. They include a wide variety of delicious breakfasts, lunches, dinners. They've even got some snacks that are tasty. And they're backed by thousands of 5-star customer reviews. Just go check out their website, 4patriots.com, and read them for yourself. 4 Patriots Survival Food is not just for natural disasters, because in today's world of uncertain supply chains and unpredictable emergencies, it's more important than ever to have a backup plan. Whether it's a temporary power outage, a winter blizzard, or rising food costs, which we're all feeling that these days, right? You can rest easy knowing that you have a reliable source of food to see you through it. And right now, you can go to 4patriots.com and use this exclusive code, LEADHEAD, all caps, LEADHEAD, one word, to get 10% off your first purchase on anything in the store, not just their food kits. So go check them out, 4patriots.com. Use the code LEADHEAD to get 10% off your first purchase of 4 Patriots Survival Food. That's 4patriots.com, guys. Use the code LEADHEAD and get that 10% off. So the museum that you have, the Hand of Man, how did you come up with the name of the museum?
It's in a little village called Maple Bay here on Vancouver Island, sort of north of Victoria, the capital city of Vancouver Island. And, I was thinking Maple Bay Museum, and I don't want my name in it because it's not it's not about me. Right. Yes, I collected everything in here, and I can't describe it to people. It's indescribable. They can Google it. Google Hand of Man Museum, and it'll come up, zillions of reviews.
You've got a website, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have over 30,000 visitors this year to our museum, and it's donation only. There's no cover charge, and that reason I did that because I grew up in a trailer park, as I said, and I couldn't have come in with a $1 cover charge. But if it was donation, I could have brought an insect or a pretty rock or anything I found along the way. So it's always going to be donation.
I'm going to bring it up as you're talking about it here, so for our viewing audience.
Sure. Oh, there you go. Boy, that's pretty fancy. But yeah, we'll have over 30,000 visitors this year, and it's when I was trying to think of the name, the museum in Maple Bay, and I didn't want it's not an ego thing at all. It's not a hunting museum. It's not shoulder mounts. It's filled with skeletons and full body mounts, but also there's a much higher number of cultural ethnographic pieces from around the world, idiosyncratic folk art. There's mid-century modern art in here. There's woolly mammoth skeletons, authentic.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, cave bear skeletons. There's narwhal skeletons.
How do you acquire a woolly mammoth skeleton?
Well, I tell you, the easiest way you can do it is use the money hose and wash the problem away. It's there. I don't think you could pick one up right now today for less than $500,000 if you could find one available. They originally, the ones that are on the market or they come accessible, came from Alaska for the most part. There's some from Russia, but I think there's probably embargoes right now or trade issues to get them across. But there isn't that many. This one came from a friend of mine down in Missouri. It was in his kitchen.
What?
And it's I know.
He's got a big kitchen.
Enough of the woolly mammoth in the kitchen, and he had a big house, obviously. But I got it from him a long time ago. But there's dinosaur skeletons and I mean skulls of every kind of creature around that anyone that's interested in natural history, arrowheads all through here too, cultural arts. So when I was looking at it, one of the most powerful symbols in the world, for us as humans is that.
The hand.
That you see it on, they blow on the paint on caves all over since.
What was that movie with Tom Hanks and he's got it on the soccer ball?
Oh yeah.
Wilson.
He was stranded on the island.
Wilson.
Yeah. What was it? Yeah, Wilson. That's right. Yeah, Wilson.
I can't remember the name of the movie, but yeah,
great movie. But this symbol speaks so much. It means stop. It also means I'm not armed. We turn it sideways and shake hands. We salute.
High five.
Yeah, I mean it's a powerful symbol, and it has been all through the history of human beings. So I was thinking hand. Well, that's cool. I like that, and I love that logo. I don't know. We don't have one in the background here, but
I get it.
I don't have one close by me, but it's the hand with the blown on paint, red against black. I thought it's about as powerful a symbol, and it speaks to everything that's in here, because everything in this museum was created by hands of human beings. So when I started thinking, okay, hand of human being, hand of people, trying to be politically correct about it, hand of us, but then hand of man. It kind of rhymes, and it's a museum to me should never be. It should never be sanitized to fit into the whatever way the wind's blowing socially in any given period of time. A museum can be about politics, but it should never be politicized. Our museum here, our Royal BC Museum in Victoria, fabulous facility, and they're decolonizing it. So anything to do with you or me, if we're not, we weren't Indigenous,
they're taking the history out of the museum.
They're getting rid of Captain Cook's little, exact replica of his sailing ship. When he discovered, the Western world discovered, the European world discovered this coastline. I mean, it was really cool to walk into Captain. Now, yes, okay, he was associated with colonization, so they're out now. I mean, that's history.
That's history.
I know. Museums, they have to say this is what happened. I mean, there's Holocaust museums, right? Yeah. Learn from it. Don't sanitize it and try and hide it and say
for education.
Of course, and learn from it. If you hide it, you're doomed to repeat it. So this museum, again, there's no government funding in here. It's all out of Louise's in my pocket, or has been. We're donating it all to a foundation, a society that we're setting up. So I'll have control of the mandates and protocols, and I'll have a board of directors. I'll have them handcuffed from the grave for the next 40 years. But we're donating everything. The land, 17,000 square foot building, it's all paid for. all the contents, every piece. There's, I don't know, 100,000, 200,000, 250,000 pieces of
Wow.
Cool stuff in here. That's all being donated.
And this is all stuff that you've personally, over the years, all over the world have collected.
Yeah, pretty much. Now there's pieces that are donated. There's a big marlin, a mounted marlin. There's a crystal by
That's
Ron
somebody
Coleman.
just rubbing it in there when they donate that. They're just rubbing it in.
Yeah. Well, because I've never actually caught one, which is the irritating part. But it's 760-pound marlin. It's kind of cool to have it there with a video of him catching it. And yeah, that's really nice when they donate it. And there's a few arrowheads and things like that that are donated, and there will be a little sign. But otherwise, now some of the pieces, like the arrowheads, they came out of collections. I found a pile. There's hundreds in here that I found personally all around the world.
My dad collected arrowheads.
Yeah.
And he had
a
huge arrowhead collection, and I don't know if my mom still has it or not, but if she does, I'll look and see, and maybe that might be something I could donate.
Yeah, good luck getting it across the border anymore. I think you guys in the States just passed a new law that anything 50 years of age that's got any cultural importance can't be exported out of your countries anymore, out of your country.
Out of America?
Yeah, indigenous art forms and things like that. There's some, I'm not, I'm speaking under my hat here, but it's a new law that you like crossing the border anymore with those kind of things. It's again, protectionism, I guess, good
it's
reason.
Not protection. It's not, who's it protecting? It's not protecting anybody.
I think, I can't.
Maybe for a special purpose like that, they would let it go across. I don't know.
I don't ask me. There's some laws, like there's
also,
8 states where
don't ask, don't tell.
Yeah, there you go. But there's 8 states where the people of those states can't buy or trade in mammoth ivory. Woolly mammoth, an extinct animal, and they somehow there's some kind of logic that takes them to the place where that saves elephants in Africa right now. And so you can't have a woolly mammoth.
You can't have an extinct tusk because it'll lead to the extinction of
they don't even look the same. They're the same shape, but anybody can tell the difference. And I don't know. I have no idea. The logic sometimes defies common sense to me, but maybe I'm just not smart enough.
It's a lot of laws. A lot of laws defy common sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why that law. But yeah, I had a full-time person for 25 years. That's all they did was export, import. And they would last about 3 years. And then the mind numbingness of it.
Of all the laws and everything.
I'm out of here. You put all the paperwork. Oh, you forgot to dot an I. And this is 6 months later. Resubmit it with resubmit your enter whatever fee you have. And you do, this time you forgot to cross a T. It's that bureaucratic inaneness that drove that person that will work for me, that full-time, crazy. And
well, it kind of gets into your enemies, your villains in this book too. I'm not going to say the name of the organization but the organization that's, kind of behind it all. It's like they want to control everything. And that just seems where our world is headed, where there's a one world power. I wasn't going to say it.
But I'm going to say it. Our World is the name of the organization.
Yeah.
And again, it's not deep state stuff. It happens.
It's happening.
Yeah. Go ahead, research it. Go see if what's in this book isn't true. It's sometimes the truth is they said it is stranger than fiction. I don't know who to attribute that quote to, but
I don't know.
But
it's been around for a long time, but yeah.
Yeah. Open up your eyes right now, seeing what's going on around this world. And it's pretty strange. Yeah, I traveled 306 days a year on average for 25 years and 200 days a year before that. I was a peregrinator, always was. I left home at 17. I actually hitchhiked when I was 14 from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan to Edmonton, Alberta, because I heard about some long-lost uncle that had been to Africa. and I heard he had a 300 Weatherby. And I collected cartridges, even at that age.
Yeah.
So my mother, to the day she died, swore she never gave me permission, but I distinctly remember her saying, "Yeah, go ahead, hitchhike by yourself to Edmonton."
Yeah, I'm not going to take you.
Just call me from a payphone when you get there. That didn't really happen, but I did hitchhike, and So I've always been I traveled. Yeah, he had a 300 Weatherby, and he did have one of the original Mark V's, I think it was back in the day, and he went to Africa with it. And I mean, I literally knocked on the door. Hey, great uncle, whatever, Dimitriov or whatever his name was. It was Ed. It was great uncle Ed. I said, my name's Jim Shockey, and I'm here. I heard you went to Africa. And this big, man looking down at me said, "Who are you?" And then he invited me in and figured, I think he probably phoned my mom and said, "I got him. He's safe."
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, and they sent me back on a bus, but it was. Yeah, I got my 300 Weatherby, and he regaled me with stories of Africa, and
that's awesome.
Had pictures of Cape Buffalo. We shot at Cape Buffalo, and for me at 14, this is from Saskatchewan, Canada. I mean, knowing somebody from Africa and talking, and here he was. I mean, I was fascinated. So I did get my 300 Weatherby cartridge.
Very cool.
And it will be in my cartridge collection. I mean, I collected I have found my diary recently that I was writing from when I was 14, and it's not about what girls I met or it's none of that. It's all about what cartridges I collected, and I got a rabbit when I went hunting today, and I brought a gopher home that my mommy cooked for me. And
what was the first firearm that you ever shot?
It would have, I mean, the first one was a 22 that my dad had, and a Remington 22. I still have that.
Yeah.
And then I used a pellet gun, a Slavia pellet gun back in the day.
Yeah.
And Dad didn't feel I was old enough to go hunting on my own, but I didn't take that to mean you couldn't go hunting on your own. It meant that, or with a gun, it meant I couldn't go with my own gun, but I could borrow one from Jim Bates. So I'd go there like literally 6, 7 in the mornings on weekends and knock on their door, and the parents got so mad at me. They just leave the gun.
Just leave it right there.
Yeah, and then I'd go by myself out into I lived right on the outskirts at that time of Saskatoon, and I could go out hunt rabbits. There was an old barn with rats in it. I could hunt rats. And
of course, the gun laws in Canada were different back then.
Oh, you think? I took it right across the highway. I mean, a little kid with an air gun. I mean, imagine that now. We went to school. I carried a shotgun all the time in my car.
Yeah.
It was we go out hunting right after school, and or sometimes miss school and go hunting. But yeah, everything's changed since then. But it was been the 22, and then shotgun. He had a side-by-side shotgun that I still have as well. It actually got stolen, but I got it back.
It got stolen?
Yeah. All Dad's guns were stolen from our ranch in Saskatchewan. I had a big safe, and someone blew out the wall and took the whole safe.
Dang. Loaded it all.
And then the police, RCMP, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, did find it all cut open with a cutting torch, and they eventually did catch the three of them, or they caught 3 of them with a couple of one of Dad's guns in their car. It was a shotgun.
Yeah.
And before they, when I finally heard about this, I heard they caught these people with Dad's shotgun, which was really the gun I wanted back the most, because him and I spent so much time together with hunting upland birds in Saskatchewan with that gun. And the RCMP told me, no, it's been sawed off, so you can't have it back. It's a prohibited firearm now. And I said, okay, well, that's the way it is. What a sad thing. And it was 7 years after the fact, I got a call from a, I'm not going to even say who.
Sure, you won't get in trouble.
I'm not going to say, but I'm just going to say that I got a call saying, you ever get your guns back? And I said, no. He said, did you ever look into it? And I said, yeah, they told me they caught the people, and the gun was sawed off. And I said, they never told me what happened to the people, these 3 people. And he said, well, one's dead, one's in prison, and one is still at large. They, of course, let him out on bail and gone. And then he said, have you looked into your gun any closer than that, your dad's gun? And I said, no. He said, well, I'll check on it. And I got a call a little bit later, say, your dad's gun isn't sawed off. It's in a short case. It was taken apart. Oh. So whoever looked at it told me it was sawed off, just assumed it would be a big, long case.
They didn't even look at it, yeah.
Because it comes apart, break action.
Yeah.
So it comes right apart. And he said, I'll be in touch. And I got my gun back.
Dude, that was awesome.
So my dad's shotgun. So I still have that. But
It's good that you still have those. So you still got the first gun you ever shot.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah, I had my old Slavia pellet gun. I might still have that somewhere too. The seals are all gone. It was only 500 feet a second in the day. So it wasn't.
But, what a piece of heirloom. That's a family heirloom right there. That's pretty cool.
Of course it is. People don't realize that they, the urban centric people don't, where we shouldn't have guns, they don't realize the sentimental value, the tradition, the paying of respects to who was there before you, to who brought us to the dance, how we got to the dance. It was hunting, it was using guns.
Yeah.
And that, so there's a deep value beyond the dollar value, the economic value of each firearm when it gets passed down through a line.
Did you shoot a gun before you took up bow and arrow?
About the same time. I fancy myself an archer and a slingshotter and even a sling. I tried it all. So I was hunting rabbits with a bow and arrow way back when I was that age. No one could really say much about that because it's a bow and arrow. So I was old enough earlier than a firearm. So I was an archer. Then I became a centerfire rifle hunter. My first deer was, with the old British 303. I was 14, but high power centerfire rifle, high power-ish. And then when I got a little bit older, I took up archery again, but I realized I got a few deer and bears, but I realized I wasn't patient enough to be an archer, and we didn't use tree stands or anything. So it was all spot and stock. And I'd take 4 hours to sneak up on a deer, and it would stand up with its rear end towards me and look back at me, and I couldn't take the shot.
Yeah, you're like, turn around.
And then I was the battle between take it, don't take it, take it, don't take it. Those little devils on one side and the angel on the other side. The ethical angel. It was just too great of a battle, too stressful for me, and I want to take a shot. I can do it. I can do it here. And so I wounded a deer one time, and because of that, I answered the wrong calling and took the easy road, and I put the bow down and never used it for quite a few years. I switched to muzzleloader, which I thought was the perfect combination between high power centerfire rifle, and not as much challenge, obviously, and bow and arrow, too much challenge for mentally a little weak person. So that was me. So muzzleloader was perfect but now if I snuck up 4 hours, I still had to get as close as archery pretty much in those days.
So you still take the shot.
100 grains of powder. It was a short range, old primitive weapon. People nowadays they can shoot like they're pretty fancy, but that's not what I used. And so it was a perfect combination. I got to hunt like I liked, sneaking up on them like archery, but then when I stood up and tried to do that, I could take the shot.
Definitely get an ethical shot. Yeah.
Yep, I used archery for years, or muzzleloader, and that's all I did. I was a avid muzzleloader hunter. Everything in North America, I hunted 100 grains of powder. I didn't do anything. I didn't use 150, 200 to speed it up. I just used, I wanted it relatively primitive. And then, even though I used a scope because I believe in that, and then I got back as I got older. Yeah, it started with what I hunted. It was the what. I had to get the big deer. I had to, and use a rifle because that's easier. I got to get that.
Sure.
When it moved. Then it became the how I hunted. So it became important muzzleloader only. I'd never use a rifle. Why? Then bow and arrow. It's how I hunted. But now
because it's more of a challenge. Is that why? Is that your mindset?
Makes the hunt last longer.
Yeah.
And but now it's the why I hunt. So I can still use centerfire rifle. I use, bow and arrow. I use crossbow. Heck, I even have a bunch of marbles. I was actually looking to see if I could get a proper slingshot, a modern slingshot. Yeah, because it's the why. Why are you out there? To get in touch with your ancestral soul, and that's why I hunt now. Is just to be out there,
to be out with nature. Yeah. So. Now, maybe a little known fact about you is that you were in the Air Force?
No, I was in the Canadian Armed Forces.
Armed Forces.
Yeah, so I was I didn't come up through the ranks, so I don't want anybody to think that I, deserve this, but we're on the British system here. So the troops can pick a commanding officer that works with the existing commanding officer that came up through the ranks. So, and I think they did it back when in the British, way back when in the Empire days, and before that, because the troops wanted to get paid, so they could pick. So there's the real general, but then there's, the
money guy that's going to get them paid.
Yeah, the Duke or whatever that they, he then became a military, full uniform and with rank, and it's full rank. I mean, I had all the authority except on a field of battle as the commanding officer, who was a lieutenant colonel. I was tapped on the shoulder and said, you've been chosen by the troops, and then you have to go through a fairly rigorous vetting process. Because I believe it takes an order in our federal parliament, order in council in our federal parliament, and signed off by the Minister of Defense, and even our Queen, has to be involved. The Governor General, I'm not sure who signs on her behalf, but and then you're in full uniform, and I was an honorary lieutenant colonel, H.L. Cole, of 4 Canadian Ranger Patrol Group. So the Rangers are they're a non-regulation force in Canada. They guard our furthest borders. So it's the Inuit people and the indigenous peoples on the coast, or people not indigenous that live on those areas that are part of the Rangers. So I was in 4 Canadian Ranger Patrol Group.
How many years did you do that?
6 years I did that. I think you're only allowed 6 years. You're allowed 3, and if you do a good enough job and the troops still want you, then you can do a second 3, and then you're pretty well have to retire.
Yeah.
And I think
it's kind of an honor. I mean, it's a real honor because you're I don't know if they nominated. I wouldn't say elected, but you're nominated by your troops.
Yeah, selected. Chosen.
It's a huge honor.
Yeah, that's my people are the ones that are out in those wildlands. I probably don't have to buy a beer, anywhere in particular.
I don't think you have to buy a beer anywhere you go, Jim.
You'd be surprised. Downtown New York City, which is actually, I was on a board of directors of Ferrari, the archery company, big archery company. So I'd have to go out there for the board of directors meeting, and I'd walk down the streets of New York City. Now I had a cowboy hat on, so it's not exactly like I don't stand out.
They thought you were Crocodile Dundee, didn't they?
It's what?
They thought you were Crocodile Dundee, didn't they?
No, I think a lot of them mistook me, the urban dwellers, there's some guy that used to hang out at, I don't know, whatever the main 5th and Saks Avenue or whatever, and he had a cowboy hat, and I think he was naked, and he played guitar. And so I think
I know who you're talking about now.
Yeah, I think people would sometimes mistake me for that guy, but
no.
I'd be walking down the street, and someone would go by, "Hey, Shockey," So there's definitely hunters, even in downtown New York City with all the skyscrapers.
Yeah, I can't imagine that you go many places that you're not recognized. So with all the traveling that you've done, and you've been to some remarkable places, and I'm sure you've met some remarkable people. What would you say had the most impact on your life and the course that your life has taken?
Yeah, that's a variation on a question that I get asked, what's your favorite place? There, the Yukon, just how pure the wilderness is in the Yukon. That's, I think, the most beautiful place I've ever been. I mean, my Rogue River outfitting territory up there is 7.5 million square acres.
Oh, wow.
There's not a single road. There's not a house other than our cabins on various lakes and along the rivers.
That's amazing.
All accessed by airplane only. And I mean, you just go for an hour and a half. You're still in the territory. You never left it. And you've seen nothing but wilderness.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a spot up there I go to. I try and get there every year. This year I only got up for 3 days. Normally I'll be up there for at least a month, longer. Because you can watch the seasons change. You can literally, in 6 weeks, you can be there for spring. You can bring there for the whole summer, for the fall and winter, in those 6 weeks. So it warms up and boom, it's, here, and then winter comes from the north.
Wow.
Boom. But there's a spot up there I sit, and it's, I can see 30 miles this way, 30 miles that way, 3 miles across this flat, beautiful, alpine, scruffy mountain birch and yellow willows, but flat 3 miles across.
And nothing man-made. You see nothing man-made. It's just all nature.
Pure wilderness. And that, Siberia is like Grand Central Station compared to the Yukon. There's just people everywhere and the rivers everywhere. But out there, there's just no access unless it's by airplane. And there's not a lot of airplanes in the Yukon. There's only, 40,000 people live in the Yukon. Most of them live in Whitehorse, right on the very southern border, just above BC. So it's just so, purifying. I don't know. You get away. I say goodbye to civilization time when you go back. Yeah. When that airplane leaves, drops you off at LA.
Cleanses you.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I know now with Elon Musk, I can use my cell phone.
Is Elon calling you now?
No, I don't think I probably won't hold my breath for that call. But his satellite's coming over top, Starlink or whatever they call it. So even there, we're linked in. Yeah, I can send videos in real time from up there. So it's not quite as pure as it was, but it's still, you can ignore that and.
But to get out there and especially you say looking up at nighttime and you can see, the stars without all the artificial light, that come from the cities. And I can imagine that would be very surreal, very, very humbling to just make you feel.
Yeah, it's like I say, you get in touch with your ancestral soul when you're standing there and you see comets and you see the Milky Way like you've never, planets, the constellations are like right here in your face. And then the Northern Lights come. And anyone that's never seen the Northern Lights, you have to do it because it really is not real. Just the sky is going like this and crackling, and there's colors are changing on the given nights. You just realize that this is a very big universe, and we're a very small part of it. We're not a cosmic event, even though I swear nowadays I talk to people, that have certain ideologies, and
sure.
I think they think they're the center of the universe, and we're a cosmic event. No, we're not.
Yeah,
we're not. Talk to me in 10,000 years. Let's see if your ideas are right.
Yeah.
Talk to me in 100,000. We can't even fathom a million years, let alone 100 million, a billion years. We can't fathom it. Our brain is
65 million. What's that? That doesn't exist. I'll never see that.
Introducing the Extreme Duty Polymer Mag from Mission First Tactical. MFT brings long-glass fiber technology to its new Extreme Duty Polymer Mag, giving it the best strength and durability for polymer magazine bodies to date. With military and law enforcement demanding reliability, the Extreme Duty Polymer Mag is 50% stronger and 3 times more impact resistant compared to traditional glass-filled nylon. The 4-way anti-tilt self-lubricating follower, constant internal curve design, and coated USGI spec stainless steel spring together keep rounds feeding reliably. Additionally, the oversized bolt catch increases bolt catch clearance. We have added a flared floor plate, but kept the slim bottom design, which gives excellent drop protection and ease of handling, while still allowing for fitment in double and triple magazine pouches. Toolless disassembly and double safety releases stop accidental ammo dumps and makes cleaning a snap. A thickened lower exterior adds to dimensional rigidity and maintained internal geometry, while well-defined front and rear rib finger impressions create aid in handling even with gloved hands. And texture blocks on both sides of the body are ideal for thumb placement. This Duty Mag also features dual-sided flat body panels for a variety of printed or laser designs. The Extreme Duty Polymer Magazine is optimized for use in cold spec AR-15M4 platforms, but is also compatible with other platforms such as HK416 variants, British SA-80, FN SCAR 16, and more. To find out more, visit www.missionfirsttactical.com.
Go to missionfirsttactical.com, use the code LEADHEAD for an exclusive listener-only 20% discount.
So I take it that you're a believer that there's life outside of our planet, outside of our universe?
Logic is just irrefutable. I mean, you can't, if you got an infinite number of, who is it said, infinite number of monkeys with an infinite number of typewriters, you're going to get War and Peace. It's just going to happen. And that means if you got War and Peace, you've also got somebody else, writing Call Me Hunter out there somewhere.
Right.
So I think it's naive for us, but again, it's so outside of we talk about it in terms that aren't even real, like, because it's so far away. And
in the news nowadays, and the government, our government, I don't know about the Canadian government, but the American government, admitting that there are not aliens, but unidentified objects, and, they're showing the footage and all that, which, they're feeding on people's, I don't know the word I want to use, but belief in that there's life outside of life here on Earth. Do you think that aliens have visited the Earth? Maybe not now, but maybe in the past, or you think they have been here?
I mean, I'll answer that.
I mean, you've been all over the world. I mean, for somebody with your experience, yeah.
I think human beings are amazingly ingenious, and we can do things. You and I might not figure out how to do the pyramids, but somebody did, and I don't think that knowledge came from outer worldly sources. I think we're entirely capable of doing it. What we've created in our world is absolutely amazing. We should never be ashamed of what we've accomplished, and never be apologizing for it. We look what we've built, and of course, I think we're capable of doing all of that, without any outside source.
Yeah.
So that's my belief. I think that there's just geniuses that come along. Read my book. That come along every once in a while that are above and beyond. They have something that the rest of us don't have. And I notice in this museum, there will be people walking through here that they have, they have a sense that the rest of us don't necessarily have. They'll be in tears walking down this long hallway, and I say, why? Because they feel things that the rest of us don't feel from these pieces. The spirit of each of these people that made each of these objects is in that object still.
Yeah.
They're gone to heaven, wherever they're gone, whatever their faith was, but their spirit, that's all that's left of them on this earth. It's undeniable that it's there. It's part of it. I mean,
it's kind of a beauty that they couldn't have imagined on their own until they came there and they saw it. And
they
get overcome.
So I know
it.
there's people with these, abilities that are above what you and I can do. And people listening, there's 1 in a billion shows up, and they just have a different ability. So I think that that's happened. Back to your question about whether we've been visited. I hearken back to that, what I said, we're not a cosmic event. Why would they bother? I mean, why, if they're that capable, why would they bother? They're able to send, they could probably do I don't know, beam me up, Scotty, from wherever they are. Why would they?
Especially back in our primitive days,
Yeah, well, I mean, again, we don't know time and light and how long it takes, but I mean, if it's
maybe
light years.
Remember the movie Predator? Maybe we taste good.
Who knows? I mean, that makes good science fiction for Star Wars.
Yeah.
I just think that nature is an amazing thing, and nature, God, is well beyond our comprehension. And I don't care how smart somebody is. There's a bigger picture, and I don't know why anybody from another planet would bother visiting us. Why? We're not that important. They missed the Laverne and Shirley reruns, or I mean,
they really like our TV. You Earthlings have the greatest TV, Magnum PI.
yeah. I mean, there's some pretty good TV, and this is the thing. We should actually bask in our own glory of what we've created, the art that we've created. And this is, again, the hand of man. It's unapologetic about what we've done. Be proud of it.
Yeah.
Everything we've done is related to love and hate and beauty and ugliness. I mean, it's all part of it. So I mean, I like I say, don't sanitize like it is. And don't also think that we're so important that somebody, 10 bazillion light years away needs to visit this little green planet forth from the sun, wherever that song goes. They don't need to. So I don't know. I mean, there'll be a whole, and though I'm sure the same guys that believe in Sasquatch are saying, they're going, he's a non-believer.
That was my next. So I was going to say on that same vein. Again, you've been all over the world. You've seen some probably unexplainable things. Anything to lead you to believe that there is a Yeti, Sasquatch?
You're gonna lose 90% of my
skunk ape
potential buyers from my book.
No, this is gonna boost sales.
Oh yeah, sure it is. Yeah, Shockey's a non-believer.
It shows your creative mind. The way you answered the alien question was just like, okay, that's very creative.
Yeti or Bigfoot, Sasquatch, whatever you want to call it, whatever you are, there's no doubt that there's folklore in most of the places I've been about that. And usually mountainous regions or forested regions because you can't see.
Right.
I haven't heard of, Yeti stomping around the Sahara Desert. I haven't heard anybody mention them. And they probably have some deity that they talk about that is maybe similar, but I certainly didn't bump into that.
Yeah.
So it's places that, where there's unknown and they've created, it either exists and nobody's really seen it or seen actual, have
evidence.
Pieces of it. Or it's a way for us as human beings to put a picture, an understanding of something that's scary, that we don't understand, we haven't seen, but it's a fearsome thing. Something happened that we need to have as human beings something we can hang on to. We need to put a picture on it.
Got to have an explanation.
And so you end up with that, or Beowulf, or you end up
Loch
with
Ness Monster.
Tale. I just watched the 13th Warrior game the other day. Great movie. I mean, Anthony Banderas was fabulous in the Northman. And there's these clawed animals that look like bears, but they're human beings dressed up.
Yeah.
And so we need sometimes to be able to just live to the next day without this unknown, always there, unknown. We need something we can hang on to, and I think that's what's created this myth, legend of the Sasquatch, the Bigfoot.
Let's see what you did there.
So I'm pretty good at what I do. I think certainly I've done a lot of it, so I should be at least mediocre, but with a lot of experience. And I have never seen anything that remotely resembles Bigfoot. That there's no sign, there's no tracks, there's no scat, there's no sounds, there's no hair caught on bushes, there's no, and I've never been anywhere, and I've been to the places.
You've been everywhere, man.
Yeah, there's no all-inclusives where I go. So I'm in pretty remote places. And the people there don't have a lot of interaction with outside, us. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing, there's no indication of it. There's nothing nobody's ever seen it. Now, there are people, I saw one. I have a thing, whatever. I have a picture.
Yeah.
And they're all saying, oh, Shockey's an idiot. He doesn't understand that. And I believe that people believe that they've seen things.
Sure.
100%. I think there's no question. I
tell
a quick story. I was in the mountains in the eastern part of British Columbia, heavily forested, beautiful. I mean, primal in that forest. And I was hunting by myself, and I heard I was sitting all of a sudden close, like within 50 yards of me, and I couldn't see that far. I could only see 20 yards. It was that thick. I heard a and I literally
sounded like me this morning, but yeah, go ahead.
There's a lot of us sound like that in the morning, but it just sent a shockwave of fear, like ancient inside us fear that my antecedents are all alive because they ran away from that crap. You know, they heard that gun. It's a lion, it's a bear, it's a Sasquatch, it's a whatever. But there's nothing in that part of the world that makes that sound. You know, I know every animal that's there that exists, that should exist, that's been proven to exist, and I've hunted them. And nothing makes that sound, in my experience, to that point in my life. Because bears don't make that sound. You know, they do on TV, but they don't.
Yeah.
You know, moose don't make that sound. Elk certainly didn't make that sound. Deer don't. So cougar, no. They're caterwaul, but that's not that sound. It was big,
deep, guttural.
Yeah, just the deepest. And I when I was armed, I had a 270 at that time, and I mean, it went through my head. Okay, whatever it is,
going through your checklist. What could this be? What could this be?
Yeah, well, I knew it's nothing I'd ever seen, never heard. Certainly never heard.
Yeah,
and not in North America. You know, in other parts of the world, I've heard some crazy stuff. But it went through my head. Let's go find out. And then the other part of me, the reason all my antecedents survived long enough to have me, was the part to get the heck out of Dodge and just back out of here now. Whatever it is, you just want any part of that thing.
Right.
And I backed out, and I never told anybody. I went back. I never told anybody.
So we're hearing it here for the first time on the Talking Lead podcast.
I might have told it once since, but certainly not for 20 years. And I have literally not told the story maybe once before.
Jim, this is the show for exclusives. So
yeah,
perfect.
There you go. Don't hold me to it. If I had too many beers one night and blabbered the story, but I don't believe I have, other than one other time. And it was years later, 20 years. I didn't tell anybody, and I had a lot more experience, and I'd been around, and I was in a forest in northern British Columbia, which, it eerily, brought back the same sense, and sure as heck, I heard a and I just, every hair on my body stood up on end.
The same noise.
Here it is again.
20 years later.
It was real. And
oh my gosh.
And I this time I didn't run. And I said, well, I got to find out. So I waited, and I probably stood there an hour. And then I heard from the exact same spot, just a little ways away, a proper elk call, right? And then I heard the wah, and I go, is it, is it possible it's an elk? And I snuck in, and sure as heck, it's two elk. One didn't know how to bugle properly, one did, and I've heard it now since, like in Turkey,
yeah,
and also in Kazakhstan, where the progenitor of today's elk is said to have come from.
Right.
And then they spread out across, and you get red deer going this way, and you get elk or wapiti going this way across the land bridge into North America.
Yeah.
And there, it's the exact same sound. In Turkey, you listen to their elk, red stag, they call them.
Yeah.
It's that sound. But I did not know it was an actual North American elk. I did not know that
it's
North
just
American elk.
An elk speaking Turkish.
Basically, yeah. or speaking primitive.
They're primitive.
Back to its roots. It was just, it was like.
Took you 20 years, but you got, the answer to your mystery.
But I went along for 20 years believing that there's something I didn't understand or know what it was.
Yeah. And
I'm not going to talk about it because you sound like a goof, you know what I mean? Or you sound like either that or you embrace the whole Yeti idea and Sasquatch, and that's what it was. But
or just the unknown, you just embrace the unknown. It's like, I don't know what I don't know, Yeah. I don't know what it was.
And maybe I'll take it to the grave, but I'm not going to jump to conclusions because I didn't see anything. I heard something, but I didn't see anything. You're going to have to at least have two of my senses.
What is the oddest thing that you have seen out in your travels? Just the oddest, just like that is just completely.
Yeah, I've been involved with some like amazing ceremonies all around the world.
I can imagine.
I remember I did a self-guided safari, quote unquote, which it's basically Swahili for travel. It means travel.
Yeah.
Trip. but I landed in Douala in Cameroon, so West Africa jungles. I mean, it's a wild place. I mean, very, tepid, fecund jungle. Everything you imagine what Tarzan in the jungles is.
Yeah.
And not the savannah Tarzan. I'm talking about the jungle Tarzan. And so I landed in Douala. Excuse me, my cameraman and I, it was Todd Bissonnon at the time, and we hopped on a bus in Douala, with all the chickens and people, and took the bus to Yaoundé. In Yaoundé, I hired a bush taxi to take us out of Yaoundé to as far as the logging road would go. And when the logging road ended, because they're logging all that now, but the logging roads, they haven't logged everything. They're trying to, but they're to the end of the road. And then from there, we walked in to a little village, and there's going to be a village. There's a trail at the end of the road somewhere. There's a village along a river. And we hired many of the local people to take, to carry enough gear for us, because backpacks,
Sure.
It's hot. I couldn't even survive. I mean, we needed help. So we hired them, and off we went for 2 days into the jungles.
Kind of like the old Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I mean,
movies.
it's just
They
there's no big temple to
tribes
doom at the end
helping
of
them. Yeah.
it. At least I didn't find one, but I was looking for dwarf forest.
But you got like a
buffalo.
caravan of people helping you carry all your gear, kit gear, and everything.
Porters, basically.
Yeah.
There'd be maybe 10 in the entire, but we hired them all right in the village, and before we went out that night, they started a ceremony. I didn't know what was going on, but they brought in, I don't know, it should be a shaman, a witch doctor, somebody very powerful in that village, and she came all painted in white, and she had this bowl of white, juicy stuff. So I'm sitting there. And they asked me to bring my gun out too, so I had my muzzleloader actually, and I'm sitting there, and we're not allowed to film any of this. We're doing, and she comes up to me and drinks a big slurp of this. I go, "What you gonna do?" And she goes, and spit it all over me. And then she takes another big slurp and goes, spits all over my gun, and then she went to the next person in the lineup and the next person and spit all over all 10 of us that were going on this expedition into the jungle. And it was some kind of a ceremony, like wipe your eyes, and this elderly lady, just a little wizened up lady, spit this white stuff all over us. And it was, just part of their
welcoming committee.
You're going to go on a trip. This was her blessing us, essentially.
Yeah.
And you see that all over the world, different ceremonies. So yeah, I mean, I've been in some.
Which one was this? So I know to wear my goggles when I go there.
Cameroon.
Cameroon.
Yeah, I think it's the Bantu people way out in the furthest. Now, the Chinese are colonizing a lot of Africa. So that's probably not like that anymore.
They're colonizing a lot of the world.
Yeah, and I watched this happen for over 20 years, 25 years. I've told everybody that would listen, you go over there and it's like the Omo Valley, the one place that was the last frontier in Africa. Now, and Louise asked me, my wife, if there was a place I'd been to, and if there was a spa within 3 miles, she's pretty happy. But she wanted to see if there's one place that I'd seen that I wanted her to see, and it also goes back to your question about, the places, the place that I've been. I said the Yukon, but also Ethiopia, the Omo Valley, and National Geographic had called it the last frontier in Africa probably 35 years ago. And that's why I told her, I said, I'd really love you to see that place with the hammer and the Kara people. Yeah. It's just like untouched other than the AK-47s. And now, last time I heard, the Chinese have come in and they've dammed off the Omo River, and there's a city of 20,000 Asian workers in there. And that's happening all over Africa. So Cameroon may well be like that now. I don't know. I'm hoping not. I mean, you hope that things kind of stay, but I mean, there's 8 billion of us in this world, and we need resources to go. So
absolutely,
they're pretty bright. They're pretty bright. They get their hands on the resources that we're going to need in the future, not that we need right now necessarily. So they're doing it, and I don't know if Cameroon is the same now. I haven't been there.
You could probably do a Google Earth and zoom
look
in down and see what kind of industry's there now.
Yeah, I mean I mean the environmental change and whatnot. I mean, people really need to start looking at the big picture, not here, and think that this is representative in any way.
It's like you were talking about earlier, as far as, you know, when we're talking about ourselves, just don't do it for the past, do it for the future. You got to look to the future.
Yeah, you need to be thinking in the future, and not just what's good for our backyard. You know, what's good for this entire world, and what's possible for this entire world, because 1 billion of us can do everything perfectly to make the environment, you know, whatever, drive electric cars, whatever the latest, greatest thing is. But 7 billion of us aren't going to do it. And so what impact have you really made? You've postponed 1/8 of the time, maybe.
World. Yeah.
You know, and they're not concerned with that. So they're looking further ahead. They got some kind of solution, and
they got some kind of little plan, because they're, like you said, they're colonizing a lot of different places.
Yeah, I mean,
the Chinese.
It's just naive to think any other way. And I mean, like I said, it takes a lot smarter person than me. Look, I'm wearing a cowboy hat, and I'm a novelist.
But you got a nice little place to retreat to there in the Yukon.
Yukon territories. Yeah, it's the size of Texas and Montana combined, and there's 40,000 people. It's pretty remote.
You got an outfitter, right? You guys do guided hunts and things out there?
Yeah, I'm an outfitter. By law, the government, I can call it my outfitting territory because it's Jim Shockey's Rogue River Outfitters, but the government needs a name that needs to be in the territory. So right now, today, as we're doing this, my guys are out there guiding for moose in the remotest camps in the planet.
Yeah.
So that's an outfitting territory, and that's the 7.5 million acres. If I die, it goes to my estate. You know, it's not a lease like you would lease a hunting area. It's like a deed to the use of the land.
And you have exclusivity to that? Yeah,
exclusive for guided hunts. So only residents of the Yukon can hunt there, and there's 40,000 of them. Why would they bother spending that much money to go way out there somewhere?
Yeah.
And everybody else pretty much has to go with an outfitter. There's a licensing process where a resident of the Yukon can take a Canadian resident for an animal like a moose once every 3 years, but not for any real or perceived gain. So they can't guide them.
Right.
But they can be there on the hunt with them. But that's hardly ever done.
Now, is your outfitting group the only one that's allowed to do it out there, or?
Yeah, in that territory. I think there's 19 areas altogether. The Yukon is divided up into 9. They're big. I don't have the biggest area. I think I'm third biggest, my territory.
With 7.5 million acres?
Yeah, it's bigger than that. I mean, that's a flat, plain view of it, but it wouldn't be how you measured on it's a lot bigger than that. It's 12,000 square miles, and it's
that's amazing.
Not a single road. You know, there's nothing. I mean, there's a few, but loggers, if there was logging, which there isn't, they would be allowed to have a logging tree farm license.
Yeah.
But there's no logging; it's too remote. You couldn't. The trees are too stunted. And then miners can also stake claims in that area and do what they can do. So they can build a cabin and sluice a creek or build a mine, even if they get big enough. But it's too hard. How are you going to get the ore out? You can't fly it out.
Cost prohibitive.
It's kind of heavy. So that doesn't work either. They do it all the time, raise money, and then everybody goes bankrupt. And it's astounding to me that people still invest in penny stocks for, that new Yukon. I mean, you can't get, anywhere that's really remote, you can't get it out. So look at a map and figure it out.
Yeah.
Before there's good mining operations that actually do happen, but they have access.
Sure.
And
they got a plan to get it in and out, kind of deal.
Yeah, and trappers too. They have the trappers. They have their territories that are much smaller. There are many of them encompassed inside my outfitting territory, and they can build a cabin too. Little log houses. They're super cool. I mean, that's where the Mad Trapper came from. That legend, which isn't a legend, it was a true story.
What's the Mad Trapper? I'm not familiar with
that. My goodness. You Google it. Mad Trapper.
Okay.
Of the he
I've not heard of that.
Yeah, it's a fascinating book. It's a true story. they tracked him. The RCMP were on his tail across the entire Yukon. And they finally caught up to him, and he had, a cave built underneath his logging cabin. And he ended up killing a couple of RCMP officers before they finally
How long
shot him
ago was
down.
this?
1930s, I think. It was airplane days. They had bush planes.
Okay.
But really, almost 100 years ago. Yeah, the Mad Trapper. That's all in my territory. He ran right across there. So the guy's superhuman, but they were tougher in those days. They just tougher. They just went on their snowshoes in 40 below weather and survived.
Just willpower, man. It was willpower.
Yeah. But there's no trails. There's no nothing. It's not like the Yukon is remote.
Attention business owners. Are you ready to take your marketing game to the next level? Look no further than Black Tie Digital Marketing, the firearm-friendly, full-service agency that delivers results. We've worked with industry giants like Keltec, Spikes Tactical, and Armalite, and we even designed the kick-ass new logo at Talkin' Lead. At Black Tie, we blend creativity and data-driven strategies to ensure your message hits the mark every time. From high-end custom websites, graphic design, to inbound marketing campaigns, and everything in between, we've got you covered. Your success is our priority. Join the ranks of the industry's top players and give your business the boost it deserves. Experience the power of Black Tie today. Visit blacktiedigital.com or call 1-800-316-8030 to schedule your free consultation. That's Black Tie Digital Marketing, where firepower meets marketing power. Black Tie Digital Marketing is a proud sponsor of the Talking Lead podcast and the Leadhead Brigade.
What's your next plans for Jim Shockey? You got a hunt coming up? Got a TV show you're going to be driving? You've got 19,000 TV shows, don't you?
We produced probably 500 hours of television episodes over the years. Our hunting adventure show, Rogue Man, Professionals, Uncharted Yukon. Right now today, those are all on reruns on the Outdoor Channel and Sportsman's Channel and on My Outdoors TV, and I see Danger Close, whatever that is, streaming. And I've watched our shows in the far east of Russia on television.
Oh, yeah.
Clicking on there's on Turkey, watched our shows.
That's
so
awesome.
they're around the world. But right now I'm producing, and this is our studio for our shock therapy TV show.
Okay.
And it's an idea I had a long time ago. It's the very end of the Professionals where we sit around and analyze the footage. So I bring guests in. It's like
kind of the after show.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like a podcast except televised.
Oh,
we
nice.
do the same thing. I talk to people just like you. We'll get you up here someday and blabber.
Let's do it. I would love to. I love to blabber.
I'll find out about you instead of me blabbering about me the whole time. But so we produced the shock therapy show. That's in this studio in our museum. And then for the Aboriginal People's Television Network, so APTN, which is a big network up here in Canada, we produce a show called Yukon Harvest, and another show that will be starting to air here pretty quick called Coastal Carvers. And that's, those are Canadian shows that will eventually be syndicated around the world. We're,
sure.
And award-nominated shows, but working with Indigenous people, bringing them back to the land, people that have maybe lost their way and bringing them back. And it's mostly an Indigenous cast, and almost 100%, and also pretty much everyone behind the scenes is also Indigenous. I'm the executive producer. It's produced here.
Nice.
Todd Forsman runs it, and so it's pretty cool. Those shows are, you'd have to have cable, I guess, up here in Canada to see those, but they're doing great.
Yeah. Wait, did people not have cable in Canada? Is it?
Some don't.
Cable's kind of a thing of the past, it's a dying. Yeah. It's like a dying. It's like a dial tone phone. It's going away.
Yeah, it's gone. And I actually was looked into Starlink for our own place here. So I don't have to have the cables because trees fall down and gone, goodbye. But then power's still there, so who cares?
Yeah.
But you're asking me what I'm planning to do in the future. I'll keep doing the shock therapy show. I've got so many wonderful commercial partners that I've been like loopholed for 40 years, darn near.
Yeah.
Cabela's, Bass Pro, great sponsors. They're all behind me here. But I'll continue to do that. I don't see a great deal of crazy international travel in my future because it's hard. People go, let's go to whatever Europe. It's like no offense to Europeans and everything that's there. I think it's wonderful, but
Sure.
It's just kind of soft compared to what I've done in my life. So it's hard to go to an all-inclusive.
It's hard to get excited about that, right?
Pretty hard, and go on a cruise. I mean, I'm not throwing stones, but it's just very difficult for me to do that. But to do the wild stuff that I did, that on the edge, I'm older. I can't see as well. I don't hear as well. I certainly can't run as fast. And I hate to admit it, I probably don't shoot as well as I used to. So I'm, maybe not as, I'd be dead if I couldn't shoot perfectly.
Man's got to know his limitations, right?
I think so. And I've got grandchildren, and I've got to write a sequel, and I'll still go to the Yukon, and I'm going to go to our ranch in Saskatchewan here, hopefully in the next few days, and hunt whitetails and just get back to my, the roots. I've got a dog, baby.
I hear it. Let's see your puppy.
I don't know how I can do that.
What's your puppy's name?
It's Baby.
Hey, baby. Hey, baby.
Baby.
Who's your big sweetie? Who's your big sweetie? Hey, buddy.
Yeah.
Do we wake you up from your nap?
Yeah. She's a year old, and she's. I took her to the vets the other day to get some dog food for her, and she weighed 107.4 pounds. One day over a year old. So, yeah, she's not exactly a ballerina, and probably never will be.
What kind of breed is she?
Mother was a massive Caucasian shepherd, bear of a dog, five biggest dogs in the world.
Yeah.
The father was a Catahoula leopard dog. Ooh. So I think it's the state dog of Louisiana. I never heard of it before, but that was the father. So they were purebreds. She's a crossbreed mutt mix. Got her off a bison ranch in northern BC.
Oh yeah.
So she should be. Yeah, she's meant to be an outdoor dog, and that's why we have her at our place, just to guard the outside. And,
sounds like she'd be a good kind of like a herd dog kind of.
Yeah, a little bit.
Breed.
Yeah, she's got that. She's definitely got that in her. But she's my buddy now. So I don't know what I'll do. I've got grandkids. Now with Louise gone, I have to write the other novel. I'll get into that. You live in a different world when you're writing.
Have you started that?
I live in the past. Yeah. Is what happens.
Have you started the sequel?
Is what?
Have you started the sequel?
Yes and no. It's the same thing for this one. I mean, I've already lived it, so it's started, 50 years ago. So 60 years ago. I just have to sit down and actually type out the rest of the story.
It'll be out next year, won't it?
I'll have to be fast, because it took a year for Emily Bessler and I. I'm amazed at how slow the process is in writing. And I'm not Jack Carr. Jack, he's disciplined. Like he's young.
He talks about how difficult it is too.
Yeah, this one is. I'm doing it because it's a story I wanted to tell.
Yeah,
and I'll tell it in my own time. So I don't need to have a second book right away. I'm sure the Simon & Schuster guys are listening, going, "Yes, you do. Like, why isn't it here yet?"
Like, we have these things called deadlines. Come on, son.
I've been the last 2 years with Louise. I haven't been able to really. Sure. I can do the editing with Emily and whatever marketing. I go on the book tour here in a couple of weeks. I don't know when you're going to air this podcast, but I'll be on the road for about 3 weeks, just hitting Cabela's stores. I hopefully see everybody. Cabela's and Bass Pro stores around the States and even in Canada.
You're coming to Tennessee?
I don't remember seeing Tennessee on the list.
You need to add Tennessee to your list.
Yeah, I'd love to. There's nothing really holding me anywhere anymore. So I love interfacing with the people that are like-minded. So I'll probably be doing a lot of that, and appearances I couldn't do before because, I didn't want to do them. I had Louise at home, but now I don't. I've got our kids, they're all down the States. I've already put in for dual citizenship. So I'll be back.
I'm surprised you're not already a dual citizen.
No, Eva and Tim are, but I'm not. Both my grandparents were American, on my mother and father's side.
Yeah.
My grandfather came there first and got American citizenship, and so my sister's American, my grandchildren are American, so my daughter's American. So it's just time. So I'll be back and forth between Canada and the States.
Sure.
Got a beautiful place here, and
you got the museum there, man.
Is what?
I said you got the museum there.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, that's going to take, I'm going to, I've allotted the next 10 years to curate everything, because every piece, we're donating it all. So every piece has to have a number and
be cataloged and booked.
And then donated.
You're digitizing all that too, aren't you?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's state of the art. Even our curations through here are state of the art. So they're actual iPads and just a little number on each thing. So they don't have to, I go to museums and I read and I get all through the first paragraph and I'm done, but with an iPad, the children too, we get, 3 to 4 classrooms a week during the school year. And the kids love it because they understand an iPad. They see it, 2 to 3 minute video on whatever thing they're interested in. They look for the numbers like it's a Easter egg hunt. Yeah. And they hear it, and then they see and they're close to this. It's not a museum where you stand back 50 yards and sort of, you're
right
not
there on it.
Not allowed to come close. No, they can come right up and virtually touch. There's a whole room they can touch everything, a sensory safari room.
Nice.
So I've got to get all that done and get it all donated, and then write the second novel. I thought about going into politics. I have to really.
Oh, don't do that! Don't do that to us.
Well, yeah, but if good people, I think I'm a good person.
No,
maybe I should judge myself, but if you don't stand up at some point, then you're going to continue to go down a direction led by politicians who want to get reelected. They don't want to do what's right. They want to do what's right that everybody thinks is right.
Yeah.
But sometimes cod liver oil is what you got to take. And my grandmother taught me that. Yeah, it tastes crappy, but guess what? It's good for you. And if politicians just keep doing this and doing this and doing this, and we keep electing,
I think you would have a lot more influence if you would just get behind a politician.
And that's that's a good point too, because if I do that, I'd be all in, and it would be all consuming. And if I, you get too frustrated when you're trying to move goo,
right.
it may not be good. But I thought about it. I haven't decided yet. But I take everything.
Well, I wish you luck if that's something you decide to do. I mean, I'm not telling you not to do it, but I just think your influence, you would be very influential and have more power behind the scenes kind of deal,
This sounds self-serving, but you're right about that. You're right. And this book is meant to reach out to the non-hunting public and change the perception of who we are, who you are, everybody listening to this. It's meant to do that. But we need to support it to show the money people that you can make money on this, letting someone with these points of view that flips the stereotypes around and changes the stereotypes, hopefully over time.
Yeah.
So if we all bought that book, and it's not because of money, I'm giving everything away, so I just give it away anyway. So if we all got behind it and bought 10 copies for our mother, I think the Rolling Stone.
Yeah. Great gifts.
Yeah. Gift it. And you know what? That would make waves like you can't imagine in that world. The world that controls, disseminates the information that doesn't allow us to tell our narrative. They hijack it and they say we're louts that spit on the floor, no higher sensibilities, unintelligent, because we couldn't read when we were grade 3 because it wasn't interesting to us. But they don't tell that part of the story, and they don't tell we're family people and we believe in honor and chivalry, things that
conservation.
Of course, with the wildlife that we love. And living a field to table true lifestyle that we believe in. We're not judging anybody else on their lifestyle. Be a vegan. I don't care. It's good for you. Have at it, but don't try and turn me into one.
Sure.
Because it's not, I'm happy the way I am. But this book is meant to give us a voice. If it does well, then I guarantee I'll write a second one that'll also hopefully do well. It'll open doors for more and more people to take that point of view and to start telling these stories, and some will be nonfiction, and we'll have a voice out there. We're already starting your podcast.
Oh yeah,
it's we're getting there, and I'm hoping that this book
grassroots. Grassroots.
Yeah. That's exactly where it starts. So
Leadheads. You want to buy this book? It's on Amazon. You can go to Jim Shockey's website. I think it's on your website too, right? Where you can.
I don't know. I mean, that's above my pay grade. But if you Google "Call Me Hunter," you can buy it in a million places right now.
Million places. It's going to be in the bookstores because this is Simon & Schuster, so you guys can go to your bookstore. Ask them. You can order it from them. Call Me Hunter. Jim Shockey. You're not going to be disappointed. I guarantee it. I've read it cover to cover. I want to listen to the audio version now that you said that you're part of the narration on that.
I'm no professional, but I've got my nasally voice that, trying to read words. I know how to write them, and I know, I know what they mean, but I've never had to speak them because you don't use a lot of those words in real life. But
from an author's head, there's the tone. It's like what the tone is supposed to be, and the inflections and
they were. I think he was quite surprised because he thought, it would be a sinister, but it's not. Yeah. It's not sinister. It's truth, and that that's not sinister. It's a thriller, but it's not sinister. Yeah. So it is in some ways, but my voice isn't sinister. I don't think. But because I'm telling a story.
Yours isn't a girl voice either. So that kind of, because you do a lot of. One of the main characters is a female. I'll say that. I don't want to give away too much.
Yeah, the protagonist.
But you do. There's a lot of female stuff in there, so I'm assuming that probably came from Louise and Ava.
Yeah, well, also I had two sisters and a mother, and a father that was on the road in road construction all the time. So I got my.
You had estrogen. You've had estrogen all your life.
I love my sisters, love my mom, obviously, and Eva, she's a wealth of inspiration on anything girl related. She's awesome, and Louise, there never was a more ladylike, human being that I've ever met. So it was easy. That was one of the first questions that Esther Fedorkovich asked me, my agent. I never met her, and she held up, the manuscript. She said, "I have to ask right off the bat," and it was a FaceTime thing. Yeah. Did you write this? And a big part of that was because the female voices are so. She said it.
They're so female.
There's this females, they're right. But again, we've been just stereotyped that we have. We don't understand the female voice. Of course we do. We listen to it. We're not misogynists. We actually listen, and because we're chivalrous, doesn't mean we think less of someone that where we can't even understand what they think. Yeah. Of course, human beings it's a universal. It doesn't matter if you're male or female or what gender you are. The voices are, we all want the same things. Yeah. We want our children.
But those 20-something female characters, you seem to have nailed them. So and the sidekick, she's hilarious.
Luba, Luba is awesome.
Luba.
Luba. Everyone loves Luba. She's. Yeah,
she reminds me of some friends that I have that. That's Morgan to a T.
That's cool. Yeah, they're great. I think Luba is one of the coolest characters. I think Zhivago is one of the most evil villains that I've ever. Our daughter Eva read and said, she was kind of like, I'm creeped out that this stuff came out of your head, but it happens. It just happens around the world, and there's wonderful, beautiful people, and we just can't judge everybody. Yeah. Don't judge Luba. She's one of the freest spirits that
she's
ever
hilarious.
walked the earth. And Nyala, conflicted, but why? Why? What's going on in her?
Is that how you say it, Nyala?
Well, the actual
I called her Nyla the whole time.
Nyala. But the real pronunciation is Nyala, right? So, but you can't. That doesn't. So I always called her Nyala.
Okay.
But most Nyala is how most of us would pronounce it over in Africa. It's the most beautiful, one of the most beautiful antelope over there.
Ah, yeah.
So it's Nyala is how that's sort of the, anglicized version of it, of Nyala, right? But you can't say Nyala. So I say Nyala. So that's how I pronounced it when I was reading it. And Scott Brick, they didn't know how to pronounce it because which way do you do it? Well, you do it the way the author feels it should sound, which is Nyala. Right. Same with Tsizu, the man of swords. Tsizu, how do you?
I called him Sauce.
Yeah, Sauce.
I read his name is Sauce.
But I called it Tsizu, and yours is a better phonetic pronunciation of Tsizu. the way it's spelled. But then that's all real legend.
It just helps me get through when I don't know how to pronounce something. I just come up with, I was like, all right, that's Nyla, that's Sauce. She's Luba. Luba was easy.
Luba was easy. Yeah. No, but that's I read the same way. That's why I say when I had to actually read it for the audiobook, I had to. I have my own pronunciations of things, and that's, I know it's the proper Nyala, but that's not how I vocalized it inside my head when I was writing it. So yeah, there's a lot of characters.
Maybe we should put a little thing in the back of the book on how to pronounce names and stuff. Yeah, but
it's okay. Read it however they want. I mean, there's place names in there because they're real.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how to pronounce them. I wrote them down in my journals. Just my Africa journals alone were over 1 million words.
Oh my gosh.
Just Africa. And I've got Asia and South America, North America, and South Pacific. I've got all that. So 1 million words in my Africa journals and the villages and people's names, and I don't know how to pronounce them. I got them to spell them.
Right.
But so yeah, when I read, I just come up with something that works in my brain.
Yeah.
And keep it consistent.
Keep it simple. Keep it simple, stupid. Yep. The old KISS principle. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Jim, it has been a pleasure having you on. I know I've kept you way too long. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Yeah, it's not like I have a grand opening to attend. So.
I would love to have you back on the show sometime, anytime. I mean, you're always welcome back here. I know our listeners are going to love this episode, and they're going to want more of you.
Well, I'm happy to do it. Like I said, I've got time on my hands now, and I fully intend to use my voice to reach as far and wide as I can with the messaging about hunting and hunters, what we're truly about, and gun owners.
Well, you are welcome here to spread the message. Anything that we can do to help that, get that voice out, that's what we're here for. Love to have you.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Absolutely. So Leadheads, again, go check out the new book. It's called Call Me Hunter, new novel by Jim Shockey. You won't be disappointed. You're going to love it. If you're in British Columbia, is that where the museum is?
Yeah, Vancouver Island on the very west coast of British Columbia.
The Hand of Man Museum. Go check that out. That'll give me an excuse to come to Canada. I've never really wanted to come to Canada before, but now I do. I want to come to your museum.
You won't be disappointed. It's a lot bigger than what anyone's envisioning right now.
17,000 square feet. That's kind of huge.
Yeah, and it's packed. It's not done like a museum with 3 things in a room. This is every square inch.
It's just like take you a couple of days to get through the thing, huh?
Yeah, if you're doing all the iPad curations, yeah, you'd be 2 days.
Yeah, no doubt. The website, Jim Shockey, jimshockey.com. And I think all your socials are at Jim Shockey.
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
yeah.
Hashtag Jim Shockey. I don't know. That's above my pay grade. I do all the posts and I read everybody's comments.
And of course, I'll have links in the show notes, Leadhead, so you can go to the website where we post the podcast. But again, go show him some love on the social medias. Follow him. Let him know you heard about him here. Let him know that you bought the book and you enjoy the book. Give feedback on the book. I know that Emily asked you to do the same too, and you can go to I got to put my readers on, simonandschuster.com. It's Emily Bessler at simonandschuster.com. She puts it in the book there. Just shoot her an email, let her know what you think about the book. So.
Yeah, no, social Facebook I live on, and our lives are very open, so we share everything on Facebook, Instagram, even Twitter. I think we're on that.
Yeah, the Twitter, whatever it's called now. It's something other than Twitter. I don't know what they call it now, but
no idea.
It's always going to be Twitter to me. So all right, Leadheads, go and show all the sponsors of the Talking Lead Podcast show your love. Use those discount codes. That's how they know that you appreciate them sponsoring the show each and every week. And until next week, Leadheads, as always, keep your loved ones close.
And your firearms closer. And make sure you shoot straight when you got it. I mean, tell the truth.
Tell the truth. Come on.